live from Asuncion, Paraguay, with no vaccine. Armored, sharpened, ready to go, snapping necks, cashing checks, testosterone to the max, but still within healthy levels, no steroid usage. Welcome to the first galactic, the first Alpha Male 2.0 live stream. Yes, I've done live streams in the past, but those were Sovereign CEO live streams where we talk strictly about Five Flags and business and that kind of thing. This is an Alpha Male 2.0 live stream, so we can talk about anything you want. Just like the Green Goblin said, anything you want. So, a few quick items before we begin. I have a few topics to cover that I know I will be asked about, and then I will open up for open Q&A, and I will stay for as long as I can. As usual, I was a dumbass, and I fucked this up, and I set this up at the wrong channel. So this is live streaming at the Sovereign CEO channel. It's supposed to be Sovereign live streaming at the Alpha Male 2.0 channel. So as soon as this live stream is over, we are going to download this video, take it off the Sovereign CEO channel, and upload it to the Alpha Male 2.0 channel where it belongs. I was a dumbass, and I didn't know how to point it to another channel. I don't think StreamYard has the ability to manage multiple channels. Anyway, I'll figure that out for next time. Just be aware that, hey, Caleb, if this is an Alpha Male 2.0 live stream, why is it the Sovereign CEO channel? Right, I have to be very careful about separating the brands. If you are a Sovereign CEO customer and for some reason you have stumbled across this, today we're going to be talking about dating and woman topics. We can also talk about business and Five Flags topics because it's a subset of Alpha Male 2.0. However, if you are a traditional guy, you will not like what I have to say about dating and relationships. So you should probably just click away, pretend this isn't playing, and just go back to the business and Five Flags topics of Sovereign CEO. Cool? Cool. Okay. If someone could put in the chat that you can both see me and hear me, that would be helpful, just to make sure that that's all good. I already see questions from I Feel Half Naked. Wonderful. We'll get to those a little bit. So let's see here. I will be going in and out of focus because that's what webcams do, and there's no way to change that without getting super technical, and I don't have time to get super technical. So I think I'm out of focus right now. Let's try this. Focus. 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 I'm out of focus. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Took a minute. Okay. I say focus in a Japanese accent because it's an old Robin Williams stand-up thing where he would talk about, so you can't say this stuff anymore, but he would talk about Japanese tourists in the United States, and they would take pictures of everything, and they'd fuck their cameras, and they say, focus, focus. So here you go. I had a lot of Japanese clients in the 90s back when Japan had money, so I learned very well how to imitate that accent. Mr. Jones, you make a computer work. Hey. Let's see. All good. Okay, good. I'm looking at the comments. Very cool. Very good. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, few smattering of topics I'm going to cover really quick, and then we'll open up for a Q&A for you guys. I am in Paraguay, and no, I did not need a vaccine. So I will be doing a full-blown YouTube video about this. So I'm not going to go through the entire story, but I had to navigate some weirdness. I went from Dubai to Sao Paulo, Brazil, to Asuncion, Paraguay. So that means I had 3 airports to deal with. And I had some weirdness in the Brazil airport. Not surprising, it's Brazil. And a little weirdness in Dubai, but not too bad. And so, but the bottom line is I didn't need the actual proof of vaccination. I just needed a PCR test. Although it wasn't quite that simple. I had to go through some rigmarole. I will do a full video of that. But if you're wondering about whether or not you can now visit Paraguay without needing a vaccine, jab, I don't know if YouTube still does this shit with the cerveza sickness instead of the COVID-19. I'm gonna call it cerveza sickness and jab instead of the correct wording, because just in case YouTube bans me, because it sucks. If you were wondering whether or not you could go to Paraguay without the jab, you can now. You can. It's all good. Matter of fact, I got the notice actually at the airport in Dubai when I was looking this stuff up. You do not need to. Now, here's the problem. And I'll go through this in the YouTube video. It was very unclear. Some stuff on the Paraguayan website said you need a vaccine, and some stuff said you didn't. So I took the risk and flew 14 hours to Brazil with my fingers crossed with as much documentation as I had, knowing that there was a possibility that I had to get all the way to Brazil and get turned around at the airport and to fly back. Pink Firefly was kind of doing this because she's sad that I left her in Dubai, and Dubai is really hot and gross right now. It's not a place she wants to be. She is not here. She doesn't want to go to Paraguay. But anyway, cool. All right. So that's that. Next topic, really quick. This encapsulates a lot of questions that I get, a lot of questions I see on our Discord group, a lot of questions I see on our Facebook group. By the way, if you didn't know, look in the description of this video, the offline version, not the live version. I don't think it'll be there in the live version. But when you see the recorded version of this, we have a Telegram group, an Alpha Male 2.0 Telegram group. We have an Alpha Male 2.0 Discord group. We have an Alpha Male 2.0 Facebook group that's 13,000 guys now. It's up to 13,000 people. So we have a lot of resources for you that are free where you can get help from your fellows. Now it's free, so you know what you get from free. Sometimes the advice you get on these things are pretty stupid because, you know, it's free. But just be aware of it. And so, but the questions I see in these places, and plus questions I get, is about you guys who are not planning this stuff out. You're still not doing this. A lot of you guys still aren't doing this. You're saying to yourself, in terms of your woman life now, in terms of your woman objectives, what you want for your life, you say, I want to bang a lot of girls. And then you just go do it. You don't sit down and plan out exactly how that's going to work in your life, both now in your life and your long-term future in your life. Or you say, I want to have kids. And you don't sit down and plan that shit out. You just, you know, start looking for a wife. Or I want to have a girlfriend. Or I want an OLTR. Or I want to settle down and get married. Or I want, you know, I want to bang 100 girls. Or I want 3 MLTRs. Or whatever it is you want. You just have this generic thing like, I want this. And then you just proceed. You have to sit down and you have to map this shit out. For example, here's what I did. I'll give you an example. This is exactly what I did, and I ended up doing exactly what I planned. This is just an example now. Don't copy this because what I want specifically for my woman life will probably be different than what you want because you're probably not me. You're probably not my age. You probably have a different personality than me. You're probably different taste in women than me and different 5 flags objectives and all those other things. So this is an example of what I'm talking about here, okay? So, and by the way, I see questions popping in. I will rewind and get to the questions when we get to the Q&A portion of this live stream. Cool? Cool, all right. So here's what I did when I made the conversion to Alpha Male 2.0 in February of 2007, all right? I went through my divorce and I said, okay, I want to have sex with multiple women. I want to have 3 women who I am dating, either casually or serious. All 3 know I'm having sex with each other, with all the other women, and they continue to see me anyway without complaining about it, without giving me a lot of drama. Okay, that's the parameters that I had. And so I said, all right, I will. And plus, I said, while I'm doing that, I will go get laid. I'll have sex with lots of women, younger girls. I will live out the sexual fantasies I could never live out when I was a beta male. I actually made a kind of a mental list of all the sexual fantasies I wanted to experience. I ended up experiencing them, all of them, with multiple women in some cases. And I said, I want to do that. Okay. And so the way I will do that, the way I will integrate that in my life, in terms of my business life, in terms of the fact that I had 2 children, I still do, but they were small back then. I went through these things and let's see. Lost my train of thought. So I went through how that plugged into my life. Okay. Make sense? All right. So then I also said to myself, am I going to want to do this for the rest of my life? I was 35 years old at the time. And I did what most men don't do. And I've talked about this many times. I've given many famous examples of this. Guys in their 20s or early 30s who just bang girls and 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 bang girls. Then they hit about 35 and they go, is this all there is to life? I want more to life. I'll just go get married and monogamous because that'll work. And then they go get married or monogamous when they move into the woman or what have him. And it blows up in their face because they didn't sit down and plan this out. Okay. So I planned this out. I said, I know me, and I know that I am at the core a pair bonding type of guy. I know it sounds strange coming from me, but it's true. I tend to like one woman I really like and have a few on the side. By the way, that is how you are wired. Not you, but human beings. Women are wired like this too. To a degree, all it works differently. Human beings are wired to have one special person you like and have several people on the side. That's how you're wired. Okay, so that's the closest you're going to get to your biological wiring. We are pair bonding creatures, and if you ask any biologist, they will tell you this. They'll say this quietly because they're married and monogamous because they're stupid, but they will say human beings are pair bonding creatures, but we are not monogamous creatures. You were never designed to be monogamous for 57 years to one woman. You were never designed for this, and women were not designed for that either. okay? They manifest that very differently than we do. Women leave, men cheat. But my point is, you were never designed for this. Also, you were never designed to bang hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women for 57 years. You're going to get tired of that eventually, and virtually all men do. There are rare and unusual exceptions, but virtually all guys eventually get tired of this, and they want something more stable and more serious and what have you, and they settle down. Cool? Cool. Okay. So I knew that of myself. I knew, look, I'm not going to be banging 19-year-olds the rest of my life. I'm going to do that for a while, and eventually I'm going to want something else. And I knew that eventually I would want to get married again. This is what after my divorce. I said, but I want a non-monogamous marriage where I have one woman who is attractive to me and who I really like, and then go out and do all this stuff where I could have women on the side and do all those kinds of things. The best of both worlds, which is exactly what I ended up doing. And I knew for a fact that it might take me 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to get to that point. Okay. So I plugged that in. I said, all right, within 10 years, 15 years, I will settle down with someone under the OLTR model. I actually wrote back in 2012 an entire article of exactly how I was going to do this. And that's exactly how it ended up doing 5, 6, 7 years later. This is years before I ever met Pink Firefly, by the way. I didn't even know her back then. But my point is I mapped all this out. Then I took it to the next level. I said, all right, I'm going to actually have some kind of 5 flags lifestyle where I move out of the United States. I have multiple homes, multiple residencies, multiple passports. I'm going to have that in the future. I knew that back then. I said, how am I going to make that work if I'm going to settle down? Because that's another question guys have. Hey, I want to have kids. I want to live a 5 flags lifestyle, but I want to have kids. I want to live a 5 flags lifestyle, but I want a girlfriend. Well, how's that going to work? Right. You got to sit down and figure this out. So here's what I went through in terms of my processes for this. I sat down and I said, all right, how am I going to make this work in terms of settling down? Am I going to move to it? Because I knew I was leaving the United States. I am not going to live in the United States. Hell to the fuck. And I don't, thank God. So I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in the collapsing USA. I knew that back then. I said, when I move away, I should say, to another country, what am I going to do? Am I going to move to another country and then find someone to settle down with? Then find an OLTR wife? Am I going to do that? And I thought about that. I said, well, here's the problem with that, because a lot of you guys are asking that same question. You could do that. Some countries are really good for that, but some countries are terrible for that. For example, a country that is really terrible for that, my country where I live, Dubai. Dubai's great. Love Dubai to death. It's fantastic for me. However, that's not a place you want to go find a wife. It's just not. You got a bunch of Instagram hoes, you got a bunch of Filipino chicks, and a few women from Europe, and that's about it. And these women from Europe are not looking to date, trust me. So this is not a good place to find a wife, although it's a great place for everything else. Now, here in Paraguay, different story. If you like, assuming you don't want your wife to be super smoking hot, because there aren't super smoking hot girls here in Paraguay. The women here in Paraguay are very cute faces and big giant asses and little tiny bodies. It's good. So if that's what you want to marry, great. You can move to Paraguay and marry someone. If you want someone smoking hot to marry, then you would move to somewhere like Colombia. So there are certain countries in the world that are conducive to you finding someone to settle down with, and there are other countries that aren't. So my deal back 10 plus years ago when I was planning all this out is that I didn't yet know where I was going to move. Matter of fact, way back then I was looking at Argentina at one point. Argentina, New Zealand, a few other countries. And so I said, okay, I am moving out of the collapsing Western world because I don't want to factor. Let me say it a different way. I'm moving out of the United States for economic reasons, okay? So I am not going to factor in a woman decision into where I want to move to. That was very important to me. I didn't want to say I'm going to move to this country. Oh, wait, but the women aren't good there, so I better not move there. I didn't want that as part of my factor. I wanted to strictly move to which has the lowest amount of taxes where I can make the most amount of money and travel as a good international hub. That's why I chose Dubai. I didn't go to Dubai to get laid. Now you can if you have, okay, but that's not why I moved there. It's not why I moved anywhere. So I didn't want to have that factored in. So instead I said for me, all right, I'm going to bang a lot of girls, have multiple MLTRs, which I did for 10 plus years, find a woman in the United States who I find is attractive and who works well for me because I knew I could pull that off. Then once I'm settled down with this woman, once I'm dating this woman and we have the OLTR talk, one of the parameters of that talk is, hey, if you date me or marry me or settle down with me, I'm moving out of the country with or without you. So if you decide you want to go, if you want to do that, you should go date somebody else. Have that talk with her. Once she got buy into that, settle down with her and then move to another country and move her with me. Okay, then I didn't have to worry about what country it was in terms of woman stuff. Okay. My point is, I sat down and mapped this out. I thought this through. I didn't just get married and say, oh, wait, now what? And a lot of you guys are in that scenario where you're either traditionally married or you have an OLTR marriage. You want to move out of the collapsing USA or cuckoo Canada or suicidal Europe or authoritarian Australia, and you can't because your girlfriend or wife doesn't want to go. Right. You didn't plan this through. Right? That's the problem. Okay. So, are we having some drama here in the comments? Oh, we are. All right, hang on. Turn off my webcam. It would make this so much easier. Goodbye. He's gone. Awesome. Adam, is that his name? He's gone. All right, cool. As usual, if you don't like what I'm saying, tell me what you don't like and tell me the facts that back up your position. If you're just going to lob ad hominem attacks, then you're going to go. And that's been my rule way back since 2009 when I started blogging. All right. So anyway, that's the challenge, is that you guys, a lot of you guys, aren't planning this through. You have to plan this through or else you're in trouble. Okay. And if you just do that, it solves all kinds of problems and it eliminates a lot of questions that I'm getting. Because I see in the questions I'm getting, this is someone who's not planning it through. This is someone who just says, I want this, I'm going to go get this. And you're not thinking long term. I've talked about this over and over again. All these player guys who bang all these girls in their 20s and 30s, early 30s, and they hit 35 and then they get married. They didn't plan it through. All these traditional guys or religious guys or monogamous guys who just jump right into a monogamous relationship and jump right into a marriage and immediately start cranking out kids, they get divorced because they didn't plan it through. Okay? You have to plan this stuff through in terms of the rest of your life. You don't just proceed with your woman stuff. Cool? Cool. Okay. We're still doing okay in the chat. We have more shit here? No, okay. Okay, good. Next topic. I'm getting 10,000 questions about this. Andrew Tate. Caleb, what do you think about Andrew Tate? Caleb, what do you think about Andrew Tate? I mean, like, it's almost like every other YouTube video now. The way this works is whenever someone blows up on social media, I get a bunch of guys ask me that by a person. So years ago, it was like, what do you think about Tai Lopez? Caleb, what do you think about Tai Lopez? And then about 3 or 4 years ago, Caleb, what do you think about Grant Cardone? Have you heard of Grant Cardone? What do you think about Grant Cardone? Now it's Caleb. What do you think about Andrew Tate? And 3 or 4 years from now, it'll be someone else who blows up on social media, and I'll get a bunch of Caleb, what do you think about so-and-so? It'll be someone you don't even know about yet. All right, so Andrew Tate. I get a lot of questions about this. Here's my official answer. It's 3 or 4 different things. Number one, top of the list. I happily support anyone who promotes the topics of non-monogamy, working hard, making good money, location independence, and moving out of the collapsing Western world, all of which Andrew Tate promotes. Nothing but love. Thank God. Good. His content directly helps my content. His success actually helps my success because he's promoting a lot of these same ideas that I promote. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Andrew Tate, you go, bro. Awesome. Second thing, Andrew Tate, yes, when you get into his deeper philosophies, when you start out the macro, him and I are the same. When you get into the micro on the certain items, yes, there are strong philosophical differences he and I have. He promotes a very strong alpha male 1.0 Roosh type model where you do whatever you want, you bang whoever you want, but the women can't bang other men because I'm the man in history. Or once you have sex with a woman, this is a concept I talked about in the Alpha Male book, The Unchained Man. Once you have sex with a woman, you own her. She is now your property. So Andrew Tate says if she goes on OnlyFans or whatever and starts making money off her body, she owes you a percentage of that money because you own her body. Okay, so obviously I disagree with all these things fundamentally, but I've talked about these concepts before. These are nothing new. These are very old school Alpha Male 1.0 concepts. A lot of these things are things that Roosh used to talk about, but Andrew Tate encapsulates them in a much more charismatic, cool-looking way. Instead of looking depressed and half asleep like Roosh, he's strong and screams and yells and he looks good. He smokes a cigar and, drives cool cars and things like that. Great. So, yes, on the micro, there are some philosophical differences. On the macro, we're 100% aligned. Perfect. So that's that. Also, I've noticed that Andrew Tate is very similar to Dan Bilzerian about 4 years ago, where the people who really like Andrew Tate, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. You need people like this on the internet. I'll explain why. The people who really like Andrew Tate want to be him. They don't necessarily want to learn from him. They want to be him. And they're like, oh man, he says the things that I've been thinking about. I wish I could say this stuff. Oh, he drives these cool cars and bangs these girls and they don't bang other guys. Man, I wish I could be him. Which is different than the mentors that I have had historically. Mentors I've had like, Brian Tracy and Dan Kennedy. I love these guys. I learned from these men, but I didn't want to be these men. I didn't want to be Brian Tracy. I didn't want to be Dan Kennedy. I wanted to learn from him. And so it's a lot of guys who live vicariously through his lifestyle. Now that's okay, because in this world full of pussy beta males who don't do shit and are lazy and just sit around all day and don't want to work, you need guys like Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Andrew Tate. Even if you find them irritating or scammy, we need men like that promoting the concept of, hey, you have to work hard to get what you want. So you need people like that. Third thing, the last thing about Andrew Tate is that this is less important, but I get questions about this. He is following a social media model and a business model that is not long-term sustainable. Let me explain what I mean. When you say certain things publicly about RAPE or sexual ASSAULT, when you say certain things that you're not allowed to say because we live in a left-wing world and the social media gods are left-wing, and the left-wing controls the world, controls the Western world, and will continue to control the Western world until the Western world collapses, you will eventually be Alex Jones'd, and you will be removed off the world, and you won't be able to promote your stuff anymore. So, and if it happened to Don, well, they can't do it to Andrew Tate because he hails these guys who pretend to be him. And if they can cancel Donald Trump, they can cancel Andrew Tate. If they can cancel Alex Jones, they can cancel Andrew Tate. That's right. And so there are certain things you are not allowed to say. And I say this as someone who's been saying controversial shit on the internet publicly for almost 15 years. The reason I've gotten away with it is because there are certain things I don't talk about. There are certain things I don't say. There are even entire topics I don't discuss. Some eagle-eyed of my viewers will actually mention, hey, Caleb, I noticed you never talk about this. You talk about this and this and this, but you never talk about this. Why don't you talk about this? And I go, oh, yeah, that's right. I don't talk about that because I don't want to deal with the fallout. There are entire topics I don't discuss. I don't discuss the topic of race, really, because, again, no one can think rationally about that topic. So I just don't go there. So I'm aware of this, and I promise you that if Andrew keeps saying certain things about certain microscope, not everything else he says, just to 1 or 2% of the things he says, if he keeps saying that stuff with the exposure he now has, he's going to be gone. And so that's the first thing. Second thing is, in terms of lifestyle, doing things like constantly getting your house raided by the cops, constantly being accused of sexual slavery, whether or not it's true, working with the mob, working with organized crime, stuff like that, constantly getting arrested. You can pull that off for a while, especially when you're in your 20s and early 30s, which Andrew Tate is. He just turned 35. So he's been a younger man this entire time. That's fine for a while. You can make that work for a while. And trust me, I've worked with people who have worked with organized crime. The money is crazy. I've been tempted. I didn't do it. But boy, the money is insane when you work with organized crime. For a while, until you get shot in the head, or until you get dangled out of a window, or until someone shoves an ice pick up your ass. I'm saying that literally. For a while, it works. When you talk about owning women and things like that, works for a while until you get in big trouble. Ask R. Kelly. So, if Andrew Tate were sitting right next to me and we were talking and away from the cameras, I'd be like, bro, I love you. Keep going. This is fucking great. There's 2 or 3 things you need to start phasing out of your life. Now that you're an older man, now that you've crossed that threshold, age 35 from younger to older man, you need to start thinking about not saying certain things, reorienting your business. I would take, if I were giving him advice, and he would probably tell me to fuck off, but if I were, I would say there's 2 or 3 things you should stop doing over the next, 18 months. You should phase out these things out of your life because you want to keep this party going for the rest of your life. Grant Cardone can keep doing what he's doing because he doesn't say super controversial shit, right? He talks about Scientology a little bit and that's it. But talking about Scientology is allowed by the left-wing elite that controls the internet. Saying certain things about RAPE and sexual ASSAULT aren't allowed at all. Okay. Again, even if you're right, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong or you agree with them or not, right? You saw what happened to guys who talked about when cerveza sickness was created in a lab in China. And that's a fact. That's true. It's what happened. But you saw what happened to them. The left is authoritarian. They don't want you saying certain things, and they can and will cancel you. It doesn't matter who you are, including the president of the United States. Okay. So that's the deal on Andrew Tate. What else do I want to talk about? I think that was it. It was Paraguay. It was planning out your life. It was Andrew Tate. I didn't make notes for this, as you can tell. This is kind of just shooting from the hip today. We're just kind of chilling out today. Yeah, I guess that's it. So now it's up to you guys. Let me scroll back up here, and we'll start answering questions in the chatty chat. Can I zoom this? Hang on a second. I'm going to zoom this, bitch, because I'm old. Let's see. Do you have Asian clients or Muslim clients that doesn't want to have polygamy, instead use your system and be successful at it? Muslims, no. Asians, many Asians. Yes. Yes. I could do a whole video on how the Muslims handle their relationships in Dubai. I don't think it would be smart for me to do that as a resident of Dubai. I don't know if I would get in trouble or not. Probably not. But I don't think I'm going to risk it. So that's something I'll talk about in like my coaching programs, I guess, in my INC. It's crazy, the stuff they're doing. Crazy. How do you come up with $20 per date before sex occur? I calculate most of my dates will include expenses like Airbnb and motel. I don't include that in there. So I don't include that expense. If you have to pay for a hotel or Airbnb, why don't they come to your house? If they can't come to your house, that's your problem. So I don't cover that. I'm talking about assuming you could have sex in your home like a normal human being, then you're looking at $20. It's not, and it's $27. Max $27 mine, first and second date. How to differentiate between a shy woman versus a liberal conservative? Because the latter kind of woman will use dates as leverage against men to spend money on them is a gold digger. I don't understand what you're asking. Your question is kind of all over the place. Hang on, I changed my settings here. I don't understand what you're asking. How to detect a gold digger? Is that what you're asking? You need to rewrite your question because your question's kind of all over the place. You're very welcome. I feel half naked. Getting rid of the fat, Mr. Caleb. Slowly but surely, yes, I am. It's slowly. How irritating is that to make PCR tests every time you travel? Damn. There are ways. I'm not going to say anything, but there are ways. Yeah, it's irritating. You're right. Welcome to the collapsing world. It's going to get, what have I been saying at the Sovereign CEO channel? It's going to get worse. International travel is going to get worse and worse and worse and harder and more difficult, more expensive as time goes on, as we continue to enter into this dark age, as the Western world continues to collapse. Now China is having some serious problems. It's going to get bad. So get your 5 flag, as I keep saying, get your 5 flag shit done now. Don't wait. Don't wait. It turns me on and improves the sex when I am possessive inside the bedroom. That is fine. I'm afraid this behavior will creep outside the bedroom. What are some best practices to avoid sex possessiveness? Self-awareness. You need to be self-aware. I'm an absolute dominant alpha male 1.0 in the bedroom, unquestionably. But as soon as the sex is over, I take a deep breath, I relax, I'm back to alpha male 2.0, and I don't give a shit what she does. So that's fine. Self-awareness. If it starts creeping out, you need to be aware of it. So much of success and happiness in life is about self-awareness. That's one of the reasons I had to leave the pickup artist world many, many years ago. These were really sharp guys who were really strong at game. They really knew their stuff, and they had no self-awareness. And it was weird. Where is the Telegram group? Go to any YouTube video I have and look at the description. Just not this one if it's live. I'm on my way to 100 lays. Maybe have a high-end MLTR in progress, but definitely not OLTR yet at this moment because I haven't settled my finances yet. Cool. Okay. Where can we find the statistics for the divorce statistics you use? The links in your blog post are broken. So there's a to-do item I have to go back to those broken links. The company we hired, and we went through 3 different businesses to do this, to move my blogs over, fucked up a lot of the links. So now I have to go back. I have the original links, but they're buried in an archive somewhere. So I have it on my to-do list. Plus, I should re-update that whole article. That article is a good 7, 8, 9 years old, and divorce rates have gotten worse since then. So I should make a new article anyway. So trust me, that's coming. And not an article. I'll do a YouTube video with links. So, but yes, I'm going to go back and fix those. It's on the to-do list. One of the things keeps getting pushed down. Could no sex on the first date backfire among sex-positive women under 25? It can. From what I've heard from other guys, it does, especially in big cities. You have to pay attention to her nonverbal cues. If she's leaning forward, making great eye contact, asking a lot of questions, super happy and bubbly, then you could go ahead and pull the trigger and have sex on the first date. I've done it. It's not my model, but I have done it. Now, that's not typical, but yes. But if you're focused completely on women, not under 25, under 23. It's not 25, it's 23. That's what the ASD cutoff is, 23, 23. If you're focused on women under the age of 23 and they look very excited, you can absolutely say, let's go back to my place and see what happens. You certainly can do that. Okay, only under 23. Okay, you could, sure, that's fine. I follow a I teach a 2-date model, but I don't say absolutely you must wait 2 dates. I've had sex several times on the first date, non-sugar daddy. I've done it, but it's just not typical. Okay, so that I'm not saying don't do it. If she clearly wants to bang you, then go for it. Say yes, great. Caleb, have you ever had an Airbnb owner or a hotel abroad give you a hard time for having multiple girls visit you per week? Yes, I have. And what are the best practices for avoid those issues? Focus on Airbnbs, not hotels. So I'm in a hotel right now, and the reason I'm in a hotel usually I'm in an Airbnb when I come to Dubai. Excuse me, I live in Dubai. Paraguay is I usually have an Airbnb because they're bigger. You get more for your money, and they don't care. When you go to a hotel, especially a nicer hotel, they will bug women at the lobby and have them show you their passport unless you go down and get them. You can fudge a little bit. So if you're absolutely worried about this, Airbnb. Do Airbnb, don't do hotels, or do shitty hotels. They don't care. If you're in nicer hotels, yes, they will bug. If they see a woman walk to the elevator and they don't recognize her, they'll say, ma'am, well, who are you going to visit? I'm going to visit. So, okay. And they call you and they have to take a copy of her passport or her ID, and it's a nightmare. I'm in a hotel this time around. Normally I don't do this for longer trips because I'm on a very hardcore fitness regimen and I need a full gym. And if I got an Airbnb, I'd have to find a gym here in Paraguay and then pay for it. Plus they give me free breakfast here. And so that saves money on food. Plus I'm not going to bang a lot of chicks in Paraguay this time around. My usual 2 or 3, but it's just 2 or 3. So it's not a big deal. And these are women who are used to the drill, especially this hotel. So that's why I'm doing it. How did you find women in Argentina? I heard mostly of Italian descent. That is incorrect. Are you talking about how I found women, or what my opinion of those women are? You can go to my blog, and I did a whole article on Argentina. Women in Argentina are cute and very fit and trim. They're not hot. You want hot chicks, you don't go to Argentina, you go to Colombia. Okay, Venezuela, when you can't go now. They're cute, they're fine. They're not my thing. But there are some hotties. There are some super ultra hotties in Argentina. That's true. But yeah. My girlfriend of 7 years told me she does not want to get traditionally married due to all divorces happening in her social circle. She's open to looking at other setups as a marriage. Great, as long as you can have sex with other women. Monogamy doesn't work. Long-term monogamy doesn't work. That's fine. I have a non-traditional marriage, right? I have a prenuptial paperwork that is like this thick. It's like 37 pages long. Plus, I'm international. There's no way in hell she could get my assets now. And I'm non-monogamous. I have sex with other women whenever I want. That's the kind of marriage you want. It's called an OLTR marriage. Let's see. Scrolling down here. Keep looking. How are Paraguayan women in terms of body count? Oh, this is really fascinating in Paraguay. It's an interesting question. It's really different here. Paraguayan girls fall into 2 extreme categories. They're the really promiscuous girls who are banging all the dudes and love it. And then there are girls who are almost virgins. They've had sex with like 1 or 2 guys, and that's it. And every woman I have met in Paraguay, pretty much, of any age under the age of 30, I don't think I've been with any women over 30 here in Paraguay. I think the oldest one here is 27. Just about every woman I've met in my sex life is in one of those 2 categories. So the woman I was with yesterday, one of my regulars, she's 27. She has had sex since I came here last over a year ago. And so we had to be very careful, and she heard a little bit. And okay, now the next girl I'm seeing, well, I don't know if I'll be seeing her probably on Sunday. the total opposite. She loves having sex, bangs dudes, crazy. So that's very typical of Paraguay. It's one or the other. And so if you're very traditional, I don't like girls who have sex with a lot of guys. Great, go to Paraguay and screen out the ones who are the promiscuous ones, although I think that's stupid because some of the promiscuous ones are the hottest ones. But you do everyone. How do you see RP when they say high notch count women are not suitable for long-term marriage? Would you care? So I have written about this in detail in my books. So here's the scientific data. When you're dealing with women who have, they are right, but they're talking about women who have had sex with like tons of guys, 60, 70 plus men, 100 guys. Yes, they're not as good for long-term stable long-term relationships. But there is no statistical difference between a woman who's had sex with 2 guys and a woman who's had sex with 20 guys. There isn't. And if you don't believe me, go look it up yourself. There's a small difference, but it's a fraction of whatever. It doesn't matter. And so the problem is when these red pill guys say high body count, to them, to a lot of these traditional Roosh type guys, anything over 5 or 6 guys is a high body count. Is 13 guys a high body count? Now, if you're a traditional guy, yes, that's disgusting. If you're a normal rational thinker, no. And the statistics bear this out. There's no difference. So there only is a difference when you're talking about extremely promiscuous girls who have spent a lot of time banging scores of men. Yes. Other than that, and would I care? No. I didn't ask Pink Firefly what her body count was when we were serious and got engaged. I know what it is. It's not very high, but it wouldn't matter to me. Now, to be honest, to be fair to the red pill guys, if a woman said I fucked 137 men, that would give me pause if she was already an OLTR candidate. MLTR, do not care. FB, do not care. High-end MLTR, which means someone you really like and are dating, maybe even you love her, don't care. How do you tactfully get out of persistent requests from an MLTR to meet or spend time with her parents? Not just say, I don't do that for other girls, so I'm not going to do that in your case. No, don't say that. That's very guy logical. Don't say that stuff. One of 2 things. You could just dodge it. You can just say, no, I just want to do that. No. You just keep putting it off. Or you can sit it down and say, look, that is not something I'm comfortable with. I think you're wonderful. I love spending time with you. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm sorry. So I would appreciate if you didn't ask that. You can keep asking, but if you keep asking me, then I got to make a judgment call whether I keep spending time with you. Cool? So it's one of those 2. Can Andrew Tate multimillionaire Playboy lifestyle be incorporated with Alpha Male 2.0? Absolutely. Absolutely. Andrew Tate could simply allow his women to hook up other men if they wanted and be location independent. He owns casinos, so I don't know if he is. I don't think he's 100% location dependent. He gets a lot of internet income, so he probably is, but he has to close down his casinos. If he made those 2 changes, he's an Alpha Male 2.0. So absolutely. You could be a multi-millionaire and be an Alpha Male 2.0. So yes, you can. You can be a total playboy and bang chicks left and right and be an Alpha Male 2.0. I don't do that anymore, but I used to. So yes, you can. It's fine. You can have a Bugatti and be an Alpha Male 2.0. You can have a private jet. You can smoke cigars and lift weights. Okay, you can do all that stuff. I don't have a private jet. I don't want one. I don't smoke cigars. I do lift weights. But yes, the answer is yes. Yeah. When a woman returns after a illicit video, is it common to have her plow through awkwardness and an unspoken guilt or animosity on her part before things can feel like they used to feel? Yeah, that can happen sometimes. I wouldn't worry about it. I move on. I don't talk about it or discuss it. I just treat her nice, love her, not literally, but saying, just be nice. Doesn't matter. It's fine. I've heard guys say that either Scandinavian women are really easy or really hard to get. Depends on the guy. What have you heard? I've heard conflicting reports. So here's what I've heard. Most men complain about Scandinavian women because they're very feministy and ASD is strong. And yes. However, that being said, I have heard from a few small number of men who are super players, very experienced international players who say, oh, sweet, I got laid like a rock star. Woo! So draw whatever conclusions from that you like. When can we expect the Alpha Male 2.0 Alchemy Independence webinar? I am actually recording the announcement video for that today. I keep putting that off. And Jeff, my COO, has been bugging me about that left and right. And so you expect that very soon, like in the next 2 weeks. Caleb, all your techniques You must still have several times dealt with FBs falling in love. Yes, I have. Okay, if hot and give you no direct drama. Okay, if hot and give you no direct drama. Yes, I need to get a little better at managing expectations. Right. So I'm glad you said that. Number one, top of the list, you probably did, not probably, you probably did, you most definitely did something wrong. Okay, so you did something wrong there if she's falling in love with you. Is it okay? Well, like you said, if she's not giving you any drama, anything is okay. I mean, just about anything is okay for an FB if she's not giving you drama. Anything. Sky's the limit for an FB. So if she's totally in love with you, but is not pressuring you at all and doesn't go, what you do? Like an MLTR would, then sure, it's fine. You need to navigate that well, though. I don't want you having hurting girls. I don't want to have you hurting girls. So, be nice to women. I don't want to hurt anybody. You might have to have a talk with her. If she's really all over your ass, I love you, oh my God, I'm going to marry you, but no pressure. And, I would have a talk and say, hey, look, it's a little easier for me because I have a wife. So I can say I'm married. Although there are some women who don't even care about that, especially women in Latin America. They're like used to dating married guys because monogamy really doesn't work down here. Holy shit. I'm like, oh, that's fine. You can have a wife. I don't care. Lots of girls on Hinge direct you to your Instagram, direct you to go to your Instagram. You mean their Instagram? Do you open them in your Instagram the same way you would open them on Hinge? What would you say if you were sent from Hinge? Yeah, exactly. I've done this. You DM them, hey, I'm Caleb from Hinge. How you doing? And just continue the conversation. You should do that anyway. So that's a good thing. I talk about it in my online dating books. You want to get the conversation off of the dating site medium as fast as you can. So that's good news if she says that. Great. Go right over and say, okay, hang on. I'll DM you there right now. Go right to Instagram, send her a DM. Hey, it's Caleb from blah, blah, blah. And continue the conversation with the DM, banter, and then pitch. That's great. You want that to occur. Caleb, if I use Airbnb abroad because I'm staying in one country and only 2 months out. Yeah, good. You should. Yeah, Josh is saying something that I'm not going to discuss. Let's see. Planning on moving to Romania because of Andrew Tate. Your perspective on Southeastern Europe as a flag. Here is my standard answer. I've given this answer many times. Eastern Europe is fine, provided Eastern Europe as a flag, as an economic flag, a banking flag, a residency flag, perfectly great. Go ahead and do it. Eastern Europe as a permanent living flag, only valid if you follow the adjacent enemy rule. What is the adjacent enemy rule? Those of you who follow my Sovereign CEO content. You cannot live in a country that is bordering an enemy, a violent, belligerent, is that the right word? A warlike enemy. And the problem with Eastern Europe is the vast majority of those countries are bordering a country called Russia. So if it's not bordering Russia, great. If it's bordering Russia, I'm not living there. I'll visit there. I can use it as a flag. I'm not living there. Okay. Does Romania border Russia? Hang on. I'm curious. Let's check that out really fast. Some of you might know instantly, but I'm going to look it up on Google Maps. I don't remember if it is. I should know this. Romania is not bordering Russia. So great. Go for it. You want to move to Romania? Go right ahead. Fine. Let's see. Now, something else really quick. I would not move to Romania just because Andrew Tate moved to Romania, so I'm going to move to Romania. Do your fucking research. Don't just, I have talked about this in great detail over the years. Guys will always say, they'll hear in the pickup forums, Colombia, man, I'm getting laid. They go, oh, I'm going to move to Colombia because guys are getting laid in Colombia. And they move to Colombia and they hate it. Do your research. Do a lot of research. Go stay there for a week or two at a time, several times at different times of the year. Then make your decision. Okay? Important. Don't just move there because Andrew Tate is there. Andrew Tate is not you, right? Just like I say when I moved to Dubai, I didn't say everyone should move to Dubai. It's awesome. I said, no, Dubai is great for me. It might be terrible for you. It might be great for you. Do your own research. Don't just copy me. Don't copy Andrew. Don't copy anybody. Okay? Following the same model, Epi is the moment having good time traveling the world, just focusing on my business and getting location independent. Good in place after 45 years. We'll look for something more serious and keeping some friends on the side. So I have said before that, good point. Thank you. I have said before that if Pink Firefly died tomorrow, she got hit by a bus tomorrow and died, my wife, okay? I would not date. I wouldn't have MLTRs. I would not look for another OLTR for years. I would just have my FB harem in various different countries, ride those out and focus on my work, focus on my business, focus on my mission. And then later, again, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the road, slowly move back into MLTRs, slowly move back into an OLTR again. But it'll be a long time. That's the problem with guys, is they break up with a girlfriend and they get divorced, and within 6 months, they have a new girlfriend, they're moving in. I have a brother, one of my brothers doing this, getting married. Don't get me started. So, yeah, cool. Communication is challenging when men and women think and communicate differently. How do you navigate validating their feelings and still remain thinking logically and being objective? This is the dance that I have to dance with my wife and many of the women I've dated in the past, because I'm a very rational, logical INTJ robot, and I'm attracted to very emotional, girly girls. And so the way it works is this. And they talk about marriage books, how men have blue tinted glasses and blue tinted earplugs, and women see the world through pink tinted glasses and pink earplugs. So they hear and it translates through their glasses and their earplugs. You think rationally and logically and strategically, but you communicate on her level. So when Pink Firefly comes home one day, she goes, I had a horrible day because this. Logically, my INTJ brain response would be, well, then don't fucking do that. That's stupid. You're fine. It'll be okay. Shit. And then I lose. Okay. Instead, I know how to communicate with feminine girly girls because I have a lot of experience doing it. I go, oh, wow. That must be really frustrating. Now, do I mean it? No. And my wife knows this. If she was watching this, she'd be like, yeah. So I just say it like that. And she goes, yeah, it is. It's really frustrating. Oh, come here. Let me give you a kiss. So you can think like the logical, rational man you are, but you can still communicate at her level. Now, there are times in your relationship, especially a serious relationship, where you're going to have to communicate on your level, and she's going to have to bump up to your level. She's going to have to do it. When her and I discuss money or logistics, I'm Caleb. I'm robot Caleb, and she needs to follow along or get the fuck out. And she knows that. But in the normal day-to-day, I can communicate with her like the feminine Barbie she is. Okay? You just have to learn to do this. And no, it's not fun. If you don't want to do that, don't have an OLTR. Have FBs. Hi, Caleb. I became a father, young father 5 years ago. I'm 25. Ugh. Okay. And mom is 23 now. Ugh. I purposely did not want to get together very young. You mean marry very young? Okay. She is low drama, but not super hot to me. Okay. I don't know what your question is. So give me a question. You fucked up. You need to make the best of it, but give me your question. How do I screen for quality online dating? You cannot screen on the online portion of online dating. You only can screen either on the phone or on a Zoom call or on a real life first date. There's no way you can screen women. I mean, you can, but it doesn't really work when you're on the dating app. It just doesn't work that way. Do you support Trump or not? I mean, you want to do that on a dating app? It's not going to work. So you just can't. Most girls I hang out with are the range of 3s to 6s. Hang out with. Okay, rarely 7s. I lived in Malaysia. Personally found day game works better because of quality. Day game is amazing because day game, unlike online, you see what you're getting. Online, you have to kind of cross your fingers and hope. That is the strength of day game. So day game's great. If you want to focus on day game, please do that. Go ahead and do that. Invest in relationship or stay single until mid-30s. I'm a TradCon Latino guy. Oh, that's your question. Great. Invest in the relationship. No girlfriends if you're under the age of 30. That is a hard and fast rule that I teach. No girlfriends, no OLTRs until you are at least 30. And even then I would fucking wait. You can have MLTRs, so you can date her as an MLTR, which means you're dating, not just fucking dating other women. I need water, hang on. So the answer is no. You don't invest in the relationship. You can be nice to her. She can be a friend. She can be an FB. She can be an MLTR. Or having sex with other women. No girlfriend. No. And be there for your kid. And if you're a TradCon, fix it. Being a TradCon will not make you happy. Being an angry left-winger socialist will not make you happy. Being an angry feminist will not make you happy. And being an angry Trump supporter TradCon, you're not TradCon. You're not Trump supporter, but you're a TradCon, will also never make you happy. It is not possible to experience long-term happiness if you're a TradCon. So if you're a TradCon, that is a problem you need to fix, not something you sit and defend. Unless your goal is to not be happy in life. Then I guess go ahead. I have for decades had trouble shaking the notion that all girls just want a relationship. Younger girls don't. Women over 33, yes. Women, 19-year-old girls don't want relationships. Some do, most don't. They don't give a fuck. Well, I'm usually just trying to have fun and have lots of sex. How do you have the right mind frame? You acknowledge facts. Western 19-year-old girls do not want a relationship. I'm sorry, they don't. There's a few that do, they don't. They don't. Very concerned about my daughter in the collapsing West. When you have small children with a woman you can't control, you need to suck it up and make your own decision. Okay? Either you convince the wife, your baby mama to leave the country, she'll say no, or you leave the country yourself and come back and visit as much as you can. There's nothing you can do about this. You can't control other adults. And if you live in a Western country, she is in control of where that child will live, not you. That's the way it goes. And there's no easy answers for that. This is why I waited to move out of the country until my kids were older. My son is on this live stream right now. And so I waited for him to get older and his sister to get older, and then I moved. And that was part of my plan I talked about earlier. What are the top 5 things you do to appear younger in order of importance? I'm not sure if I can do an order of importance. I'll try. Number 1, top of the list, no drinking, no alcohol, no smoking, no drugs. I've never been drunk in my entire life. I've never smoked anything in my entire life. I've never done any drugs in my entire life. That right there makes you young. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, lots of this. Shitloads of water, because that moisturizes your skin from the backside. Number 3, constant sunblock and moisturizer every day for the rest of your life. I have an entire skin regimen every morning. I put on sunblock with moisturizer mixed in, and I do another thing at night. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4, testosterone, whatever you can do to raise your testosterone naturally, or go on TRT. What would number 5 be? Number 5 would be procedures like Botox. I guess that'd be number 5. Once you get over age 45 or something, you don't need it when you're 30s. Some of you guys do. If you let yourself go, it depends. Am I going on Fresh and Fit? I have never been invited, but the next time I go to Miami, and I do go to Miami semi-regularly because it's a good layover spot for me, probably in January, February, I will contact them and ask. I have not been invited that I know of. I don't check my own email, so unless the invite got fucked up, that has happened before, I have not been invited, so I'll have to ask. I'll have to contact them, hey guys, so we'll see. How would you let a formerly non-monogamous VYWX know that you are now an alpha, upped, non-monogamous guy in order to put her on a roster as an FB? You don't call up and say, hey baby, I'm a non-monogamous alpha male now. You don't tell her that. You don't tell her anything. You just hit her up. Hey, let's hang out. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? I'm doing great. A little bit of banter. Let's hang out. What are you doing Tuesday night? How about Tuesday night at 7? Let's hang out. That's it. If she's a VYW, odds are very high she'll say yes. Unless she has a boyfriend. So this is standard Listen Fitty resurrection models. You need to look on her social media if you have access to it and make sure there's no new boyfriend. If there's a new boyfriend, you don't contact her. If there's no new, you can be an old boyfriend she's had for 2 years. That's fine. But if there's old boyfriend she's had forever or looks single, hit her up. Odds are good. Do you care about your own body count? I don't. I never have. It's very high, but I don't care, no. Was there a number you were originally trying to achieve? Never. I never had a body count objective. I think that's childish, in my opinion. But again, you have to remember, I came into this pickup artisty, sexual alpha male 2.0 world when I was already 35. I was already an old guy when I came to this world. If I'd come to this world when I was 25, yes, I'd have a number. Young body count objectives are for young men, and I've never been a young man in this world. When I was a young man, I was a beta. I didn't know anything about this stuff. So no, I've never had. My objective was 3 women on rotation at all times. And I've had as many as 8, not now, but so that I did have numerical objectives, but they were around number of women on concurrent rotation with no drama. Did you get to a point where you totally didn't give a shit? I've never given a shit. Now I have a high body count now because I've lived in this lifestyle for 15 years. So you rack up some numbers. When you're an alpha male 2.0 non-monogamous with no dry spells, having constant sex every week, you're going to rack up over 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. You're going to get a high body count. That's just where it goes. So, I mostly agree with never lying to women. However, I'm over 35 and interested in VYW. Wouldn't it open a larger pool of candidates if I lower my age by a few years? No. The reason, this is a very common question, I've addressed this many times. The reason you don't want to do that is there are 3 types of VYWs, younger women. Type 1s who think older men are disgusting and they will never have sex with them, ever. No matter what. I don't care if you get them drunk, offer them money, they won't. Because it's like fucking my dad, ooh, gross. Okay? Then there's the second one, which is type 2s. That is the opposite. They like older men. And in many cases, most type 2s, the older the better. The older the better. My daughter's in this category. When she was in her early 20s, she was fantasizing about getting a boyfriend in his 50s. She was totally turned on by this. I've dated women like this who like see old men in movies like Sean Connery and Christoph Waltz. Old men, like, oh my God, he's so hot. Okay? Then you have type 3s who don't really care. They don't care either way. So if you lower your age, all you're doing is making it more difficult for the women most likely to fuck you, type 2s, to have sex with you. You're not going to convince any type 1s. And the type 3s don't care. So it's literally useless. If anything, and I mean this, don't do this, but I mean this, if anything, you should raise your age to 40. You'll get better results. I was having sex with a lot more younger girls in my 40s than when I was in my 30s. A lot more. It's not even close. Okay? Because I date type 2s. They like older men. So no, do not do that. It's the dumbest thing guys do. Is it true that most women come out on first dates, have no intention of going back to my place? Correct, that is true. These are some girls who just be polite. When it comes to sexual topics, they're not that into it. They are looking to have sex or to get a boyfriend, just not on the first date. They have ASD, or they're nervous, or they're scared. So they still want to fuck you, just not on the first date. That's why I teach a 2-date model. I'm very successful with that, and a lot of guys are successful with that. Because ASD is not an issue for me. The pickup artists talk about LMR, last minute resistance. I don't have that ever because I wait to the second date. LMR is first date lay stuff. Okay, you're really hitting the ASD hard when you're trying to have sex the first date. I'm not saying you can't do it. I've done it. Lots of you have done it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying you're really hitting that hard. You got to work hard. I don't like to work hard in my woman life. I work hard on my business life. I don't want to work hard on my woman life. I have no interest. I'm a 51-year-old black male. Good. You're going to age well. That's good. No kids, marriage. Do I bother getting married at this point? No. Don't get married if you want to get married. No. No. You can never get married if you'd like. Someday you may want to move in with a woman, but don't get married. No, no, no. Do not get married. Are you kidding? That's your mother talking, right? You're black. So that's your mom or your grandma talking in your head. You need to get married, right? Black guys, Indian guys, some Hispanic guys. It's their mom or their grandma going, you need to get married. Why'd you marry that? You hear her voice, right? You tell mom to shut the fuck up. Which I know is hard if you're not white. I get that. But tell the voice to shut the fuck up. I told my mom to shut the fuck up when she told me this. About 10 years plus when I was banging all back in my crazy phase. Why are you having sex with young girls? No. Like, Mom, you bring this up one more time, you're not going to see me for Christmas this year. So make your own decision. And she shut the fuck up fast. You'd have the balls to do that. What do you think about Andrew Tate? You just missed the entire first portion of this video. Watch the recording of this video. I did a whole thing on Andrew Tate in this video. Have you ever been blocked on a dating app, even for the stupidest reasons on their part? I have never in my entire life, true statistic, ever been blocked on a dating app, ever. And the main reason I haven't is because I'm not mean to chicks and I'm not sexual with chicks on dating apps. If you're just not mean to girls and are never sexual, because I teach this, never get sexual on dating apps. Get sexual in the first date, the sex talk. Don't do that over dating apps. Your odds are really good. I have never been banned on any dating site or dating app in my entire life. Ever. I mean this, ever. So no, I haven't, because I'm careful. I'm blurry again. You know why I get blurry? Because I move my hands. Okay. Come on, camera. There we go. What do you think about the dating dynamics will look like in the collapsing West for millennials? So two things. One is you're going to have two dynamics at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with you guys. One is women are more left-wing and more strong as time goes on. So as time goes on, men will become more pussy and beta-fied and feminine, and women will become stronger and more left-wing and dominant and bitchy. Okay? That will happen. However, as the West continues to collapse, people will have less money and women will have less money. And we know for a fact, historically, the statistics are very clear about this. When economies are weak, women tend to cling to men more. Okay? So you're going to have, in some respects, in some regions of the Western world, the divorce rate will actually go down. Not much. It'll go down a little bit. Because when the economy is good, the divorce rate's higher because women say, I don't need this fucking guy. I can just go to get a job. When the economy is bad, when times are tough and scary, women tend to cling to their men. So you're going to have more provider hunters. You're going to have women who want to jump into boyfriend stuff faster, even though they're going to be strong. And so it's two dynamics that are going to happen at the same time. And you're going to be right in the middle of that. As usual, what's the cure? Alpha male 2.0. Alpha male 2.0 is the cure for all this. If you're an alpha male 2.0, you will benefit from these things. I benefit from this stuff. You're also going to have another dynamic, which is really on the rise, been on the rise for 10 years now. I've talked about this a lot. Much more type 2 women, much more younger women going after much older guys. Because guys in their 20s and 30s are basically children now. So you have these women who are in their late teens, early 20s looking for guys over 40. You're going to see more and more and more and more and more of that. 15 years ago, you had to convince, if you're a guy who was 40, 45, even late 30s, you had to convince an 18-year-old to go on a date with you. You know, do all these things, make sure she felt safe and all this shit. Today, she's ready to rock. She's ready to meet you. She can't wait. And that's because of the collapsing economies. So that'll help. But if you're a monogamous, some girlfriend or wife can't benefit from this. If you're an incel, can't benefit from that, right? Okay. If you're too scared to talk to girls, they can't benefit. You got to be an alpha male 2.0. What, if anything, do you do to avoid tiredness after ejaculation? Is TRT enough to handle that by myself? I don't really have that problem. I need to relax for a few minutes and then I'm fine. So I can't answer that because I don't have that problem. Yes, I'm tired after I ejaculate, but it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm fine. Now, again, I do everything right. I drink a lot of water. I get a lot of sleep. I exercise every day. My TRT is perfect. I mean, my testosterone, all my blood. So I maximize my health as much as I can. So maybe that's why, but I just don't have that issue. So just maximize your health. I don't eat a lot of carbs, usually. So I do everything right. Is having boundaries with women, such as politely refusing them to engage in conflict topics, such as society, wokeism, general crack, an alpha male 1.0 behavior or an alpha male 2.0 behavior? What do you think? Alpha male 1.0. Don't talk about politics when you're around me. I will not allow you to say about wokeism. No. Here's what you say instead. That's what the alpha male one, that's what Andrew Tate would say. You're not allowed to talk about this and this and this. Okay? Now, that's an alpha male 1.0. And if you want to live that lifestyle, go ahead. You'll have lots of drama like Andrew Tate does. Okay? Raise your hand if you think Andrew Tate, love Andrew Tate. Raise your hand if you think he has low drama relationships. No, we've seen video about his arguments and shit, right? Okay. So if you want to be an alpha male 2.0 and be happy, here's how you say it. You can talk about whatever you want when you're with me. I don't care. But there are certain things I don't like. So if you talk about like woke shit and feminist shit and socialist shit, if that's something you really you want to talk about that with me, I have to make a judgment call on who I spend my time with because I have X number of women and I work and I travel and I have to make a judgment call where I spend my time. And if you constantly want to talk about this feminist wokeism shit, which I don't like, you can talk about it, but you probably won't be seeing me very much. So, but talk about whatever you want. You make your own decision. When I was raising my kids, okay, the parenting I did was alpha male 2.0, even though I hadn't had that term back then. When my kids were little, I didn't say, don't do that. Make sure you eat all your food. You know, don't punch people. Don't lie. I would say, look, you can do whatever you want. You can punch each other all you want. Go ahead. Go punch your mom, punch your sister, punch yourself, punch your brother. Go ahead. If you do that, here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to go to your room. I'm going to put you in a timeout. I'm going to put you against that wall. You're going to hate it. So go ahead and make your own decision. Punch away, lie away, do whatever you want. See how that's different? It's like, don't do that. That's how you do it. Are prostitutes or escorts good for LTR? They want to be reformed, though. I don't teach LTR. LTR is monogamous. I don't teach LTRs. Is a prostitute good for an OLTR? It goes back to what I mentioned earlier. If she's fucked hundreds of men, no, that's not a good. The red pill rise are right about that. That's not a good for an OLTR. No, if she's fucked, 26 guys, I don't care. Sure. So it depends on her body count and her lifestyle, not whether or not she's an escort or a hooker. But if she's an escort or a hooker and she's done it for years, then she's had some damage. I know this because I've known professional hookers. I don't mean sugar babies. I mean like professional hookers. I had one as an FB, didn't pay her. And it was rough. It's a rough life. I wouldn't have her as a girlfriend. Also, some RP guys can be quite anal with some requirements, i.e. tattoos. There's no relevance to dating. They do rationalize it with a lot of guy logic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's rationalizations. I don't like tattoos. I think tattoos are gross. But I'm like, if she has a tattoo, then she's a slut. And I will not date a slut. No, I've fucked plenty of super smoking hot chicks who had some tattoos. Some of the hottest women I've ever been with had some tattoos. Why would you say no to someone hot if she has a tattoo on her arm? The reason for that is many red pill guys, many tradcons don't understand the concept of having sex with a woman you don't want to marry. I've talked about this before in videos. The unspoken rule of a lot of red pill is if you're not going to marry her or she's going to be a serious girl, don't fuck her. You're stupid. The vast majority of the women I've had sex with, I would never marry or even date. Dumbasses. And they were hot as fuck and the sex was amazing. You're stupid. Or you're a tradcon. What is your thought about being a dating coach in 2022? That's perfectly fine as long as you niche. You can't just be a dating coach. Instead, you're a dating coach to Asian men over 50 who just moved to the UK. Now you're good. I exaggerate, but you see my point? Narrowly niche to a certain type of guy and only focus on that guy and ignore every other man, and then you'll do fine. If you're just a dating coach, a day game coach, stupid. No. In 2022. You could do that, 15 years ago. I taught online dating 15 years ago when it was a niche. Today it's not a niche, everyone does it. That's why I don't really talk about it anymore. It's not a niche. Right? The link to how to plan out an open living relationship blog is broken. I want to read more about it. Is. Send me an email, theonlyblackdragon@gmail.com, and report that broken link there and we'll fix it. Only option in my state, Texas, is a cohabitation agreement. That's fine. You can have as long as it's enforceable. You ask a family attorney, get them on the phone, pay the $100. Is a cohabitation agreement in my town in Texas, wherever city you live in, enforceable? If she takes and challenges it in court, will the judge go, okay, and just throw it out like they do with prenups these days? Or will it actually be enforced? And then if the person says, the attorney says yes, go ahead. If the person says no, you don't move in or you move out of the city. What's your thoughts on paternity fraud videos people have been making on US and other countries and how that could interfere with letting your chick that you may want to get preggo allow them to deal with other dudes? I don't know what you're talking about. What's your thought on paternity fraud videos? Paternity fraud? I don't know what you're talking about. You need to be more specific. When a man's testosterone increases, do females sense this? They can. And does higher levels project more alpha behaviors toward women? Yes, absolutely. Higher testosterone makes you more confident with women. Now, if you raise your testosterone by 50 points, no. Okay. But if your testosterone is 400, you get up to 700, 800, 900. Oh, yeah. Women can tell. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Women are very intuitive. And you will be more confident and have higher energy. You see the energy I have? And I can do this for 6 hours. Now, one of the reasons is my testosterone is very high. That's not the only reason. I do everything else right. But yeah, so yeah. I have 2 MLTRs in Colombia thinking about starting a webcam studio. Any advice to make it location dependent? Just make it location dependent. Sit down and map out your business plan. How do I manage the business, manage the staff, sell to customers, and deliver the product without physically having to be in that city? Those 4 things. That's it. Sit down, map that out. You can do that. Location dependent, no problem. You can get results on Tinder and Hinge respectfully. You tend to find more beta providers on Hinge. Do you think that is the case? Yes, I would agree with that statement. Yes. You're going to have more players on Tinder and more betas on Hinge. But you're going to have plenty of betas everywhere on every app. Shit. I meant when it says to go to Instagram on their profile prompts before you've exchanged any messages or mash. Oh, Do you bother reaching out that's the case? No, I do not. No, that is just a way for women to get more Instagram followers and more simpy beta males drooling over their photos. No, do not do that ever. No. Curious what you have said to relatives or family members that tried to shame you for dating girls 25 plus years younger than you. I haven't got a lot of that. I have a pretty left-wing family. I was raised in Portland, Oregon, one of the most left-wing places in the world. And everyone in my family, with the exception, I have a big family. My dad had 6 children. So mom, dad, 6 kids. Everyone, I have one brother who's a big Trump supporter. And then there's me, and everyone else in my family are far left-wingers, Bernie Sanders-like leftists. So they're not going to give me a lot of shit about that. It's what my mom said. I mentioned this earlier. So my mom, many years ago, 2009, she stumbled across, she went over to my house unannounced, and there were 2 18-year-olds there. True story. I've talked about the story before, and various other things. And so she just goes, why are you dating all these young girls? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And I basically said, Mom, I don't remember the exact words I used. I basically said something to the effect of, Mom, you bring up this topic one more fucking time, you're not going to see me for a while. I'm not going to be at Christmas. So go ahead and bring it up. Alpha Male 2.0. Go ahead and bring it up again. Watch what happens if you bring it up. And she never brought it up again. Have some fucking balls. Be willing to soft next your family. If you don't have balls with your mom, you're fucked. And I know you guys who are non-white, that's very hard to do. I understand. Get some fucking balls. Most of you guys just have balls when it comes to your family. Okay? You know, I don't give a fuck about my family. I like my family. They're fine. They're a little weird, but I'm weird. So, but I don't give a fuck if they like my lifestyle. Just do not care. Outcome independence. Stop giving a fuck what people think, including your family, including your mom, including your dad. Okay? I've said before, all of you guys have the balls to tell your mom to fuck off and tell your dad to fuck off. I told my dad to fuck off too before that. That was over a business thing. He was screaming at me on the phone. And I said, and most of you guys don't have the balls to do this. I said, Dad, you don't talk to me that way. You want to scream at your other kids that way, your other grown children that way, you go right ahead. You don't talk to me that way. I'm a man. Click. Hung up the phone. Never talk to me like that ever again. Never raise his voice to me ever again. That was 25 years ago. Have some fucking balls. Okay? Let's see. Let's see where. At what point of each relationship should you tell her about the vasectomy you got? So that's one of those questions that's kind of up to you. I don't like to lie or mislead. So if I'm dealing with a woman who is 36 years old, who is a provider hunter and wants to get married and have kids, I'm telling her right up front. Because if I keep dating her and I don't tell her, I'm misleading her. If I'm dealing with a 19-year-old chick who just doesn't give a rat fuck, doesn't want a boyfriend, just wants to get laid, have fun with life, and I don't have to tell her till later if you don't want to. That's fine, because you're not misleading. See that? That's how you handle it. Is Macedonia and Romania okay to move to as a first stop before moving to Asia? Financial stance was, yeah, they're both great. Yeah, Macedonia's great. Yeah, love it. Do you use social media to aid with retention of girls who are locked in? Abso-fucking-lutely. Years ago, it was Facebook, and now I use Instagram and everything. Hardcore, dude. You bet. Add Instagram. Fuck yes. Absolutely, I do that. Or is using WhatsApp similar to texting apps sufficient? No, it's not quite sufficient. Matter of fact, I just ran into a scenario with one of my FBs here in Paraguay where couldn't find her on WhatsApp, but she was on Snapchat, which is really weird because they don't really use Snapchat in Paraguay. I don't know why she's on Snapchat. But anyway, so no, I want something else other than the primary mode of communication. So if my primary mode is WhatsApp, I want one more thing. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the fuck. Okay? So no. Does your wife have any issue with the age of the women you're with? Yes, she does. If so, how do you handle that? I tell her tough shit. My wife can't tell me what to do. I'm an alpha male 2.0. Yes, my wife is a over 33 woman. She is 42. Doesn't look 42, but she is 42. And as an over 33 woman, she hates younger women. That is the standard model of over 33 women. They hate younger girls because they're competition they can't compete with, or they view they can't compete with. So yes, she gets very uncomfortable and always has. We've been together for 8 years or whatever. I don't bang 18-year-olds anymore. I mean, at least not for a while. But back when I was, she was very uncomfortable with this. 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, women in their early 20s, she hates it. She doesn't like that. I told her tough shit. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. My FBs now, just because I live in certain countries, they skew a little older for FBs. So most of my FBs everywhere in the world are around like mid-20s, like 24 to 27. The vast majority of my FBs are. My oldest FB is 31, but she's the most sporadic one I have. So almost all my FBs are, but even that, 24, like bugs her a little bit. 24, she starts relaxing a little, but she still has a little problem with that. However, I'll tell you a quick story. Several years ago, I hooked up with a woman who was in her 40s. It was a woman I knew through social circle, through various things I can't go into detail about. She was hot. She was in her 40s. And boy, did Pink Firefly not like that either. She's like, whoa. Well, why is a woman in your 40s having sex with you? Because she knows how women in their 40s are. They're provider hunters. Okay? So it's an interesting dynamic. I said, wait a minute. I thought you didn't want me fucking 19-year-olds, so I go fuck a 42-year-old and you get all, what's going on? Yeah, give her some shit. But anyway, so that's how I handle it. You can avoid the Putin problem if you use Russia as a flag. Yes, you can move to Russia. I never said to not move to Russia. I don't recommend moving to Russia. There are some downsides with Russia, but you certainly could move to Russia and make that work if your income is location dependent outside of Russia. You could do that. Thoughts on Russia as a main flag to live? The women are hot. The women are hot, but you should read my article, my blogs of why I stopped dating Russian women. Just Google Caleb Jones, why I stopped dating Russian women. Click and read that article. There's a reason I don't date Russian women anymore, and I haven't for years. Okay? Read that. That's the challenge with Russian women. There's a big problem with Russian chicks. Yes, they're hot. Yes, they're smart. Oh, I know. But there's lots of other Eastern European women who are just as hot, who don't have a lot of the negatives of Russia. Russia is a dark culture. There's a darkness over Russian men, sky-high alcoholism, and it's awful. There's a darkness over Russian women. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go read that article. I give very specific examples, many of them. Outside of that, yes, if you are very careful, okay, you know your shit, you're very careful, you have location-dependent income outside of Russia, you keep a low profile, you could certainly live in Russia. You could do that. That would, you're right, that would solve the Putin problem, kind of. Putin then becomes your dictator, but again, you have to make sure you don't have a passport in Russia, only have residency or whatever, or do visa hopping. You could make that work, yes. What are your thoughts on paternity issues, videos people have been making? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what a paternity issue video is. Define that for me, because I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what a paternity issues videos is. I don't know what that is. And I'm blurry again. Do you think submissive women last longer in marriages? Yes. Because, well, real quick, I've noticed there are more dominant women. I've noticed the more dominant the woman, the more relationship fails. The answer is yes, because submissive women will put up with shitty relationships longer. I'm waiting for me to get back into focus here. Come on. Well, I'll be out of focus for a while, as I warned in the earlier this live stream. Yes, so that's not necessarily a good thing. Some more submissive women will put up with more unhappiness and horrible shit in their relationships than dominant women will, or independent women will. Is that a plus or a minus? To me, that's a minus. Because I don't want a woman staying with me if she doesn't like being with me. The split second, I'm back in focus. The split second, my wife stops being happy with me, I want her to leave. And she knows this. Okay? Because she's submissive. But I don't want her putting up with crap from me. No. No, I want her out the door. So the answer is yes, but it's not for a reason you think. Always find when someone gets a new dog to replace their dead dog right away, it's always ishhead. I understand. If the desire to long-term pair bond trumps the desire for non-exclusive sexual variety, if the desire for long-term pair bond trumps the desire for non-exclusive sexual variety, well, it always trumps it. That's why people get married. This is a byproduct of biology, blue pill conditioning, or age. I'm 42. Societal programming. It's societal programming. It's what people expect. It's what your mom wants. It's what your dad wants. It's what society and Hollywood have told you to do your whole life. It's what all your friends want. It's what your religion wants. Christianity. It's what everything wants. It doesn't work, but that's what it's societal programming. Have you heard about the Trump theory? Oh God, here we go. Trump will win the next election. The Trump Jr. will have 4 years. The Melania Trump will have 4 years. Basically, a Trump dynasty. No, that will not happen. You should have seen the fucking emails I got when Trump lost the election between November and January 6th. You should have seen the Trump idiots saying, Caleb, you don't understand. Trump hasn't lost. He's going to stun the world. By January 21st or by January 6th, he's going to stun the world and become president. You just don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Caleb, when you said that Trump lost. Because he hasn't lost yet. He hasn't lost yet, Caleb. Yes, he did. Yes, the Democrats cheated. Yes, they always cheat. And the Republicans cheat too. There's massive voter fraud across the board. I'm not going to go into that. No, that's not going to happen. That is a fantasy of Trump supporters. This is why Trump supporters are authoritarians. I've said many times the left-wingers, the woke people are authoritarians, obviously. Obviously, they're authoritarian. However, most Trump supporters, most modern-day American conservatives, if Trump became president and declared himself dictator president for life, these guys would jizz their pants. They'd be so excited and so happy to have a dictator Trump as president. They'd love it because they're authoritarians. We live in an era now where everyone's an authoritarian, except libertarians like me, but there are no more libertarians. I'm the last one. They've all turned into Trump supporters. Fox Day, Stephen Molyneux, Alex Jones, they all turned into Trump supporters. How do you avoid abroad dating under 18 girls that lie on apps and lie and show up on dates? Do you check IDs? Yes, this happened to me, of course. US AOC is 18 abroad. US AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What does AOC stand for? Age of consent? Of course, US age of consent is 18 abroad, like today, 18 and 29. Okay, so a few things. Two things. One, yes, check ID. Yes, check ID. I do it. I do it all the time. The other aspect of this, and you can take this information any way you like, the only issue with you getting in trouble, the only countries where you'll get in big trouble for underage girls is United States and Canada. Europe doesn't care. Asia really doesn't care. South America really doesn't care. You won't get in trouble for that. Now, if you just don't want to do it because you feel gross, then check for ID. If you're worried about getting thrown in jail, that will only happen in the United States and Canada, really. Logistically, realistically, maybe the UK, even the UK. Yeah. So if you're in South America, Central America, Asia, Africa, they don't give a shit. That's not something they enforce. They don't care. Plus, you got some weird like age of consent shit. Like here in Paraguay, age of consent is 14. Ugh. But that's, they don't care. Let's see. Why is some single moms extremely easy to hook up? It has nothing to do with them being a single mom. While some use their son or daughter as an excuse to cock block me, is this a lack of window or just my SMV issue? Stop worrying about SMV. Go on my YouTube Alpha Male 2.0 channel and look up Stop Worrying About SMV. Whether or not a woman is a single mom has no effect whatsoever on her level of ASD or how fast she'll fuck you. I have looked at this in great detail in my numbers, my statistics, and the statistics of you guys. There's no difference. She may or may not want to fuck you or not, has no difference. They're not any more slutty or any less slutty or any more ASD or less ASD because they had a kid. There's literally no difference. There's no effect at all. Whether or not she's a provider hunter, there's the red pill thing is she's looking for a man to take care of her kids. No, she doesn't. If she's 26 or 19 as a kid, she doesn't give a shit about finding a guy. If she's 34, yes, it has to do with age, not whether or not she's a single mom. Hang on, I check a few things really quick here. Hang on. Speaking of FBs, people texting me. Okay. I can go for another half an hour or so. Okay. I got some appointments. Not that. Get your head out of the gutter. That's later today. And tomorrow. I was hoping to improve my day game. Could do an approach, but I'm afraid I would have difficulty keeping the conversation going. Do you have any conversation strategy when you did day game? I don't give day game advice. I'm not a day game expert. I only did day game for about 6 months, about 13, 14 years ago. In terms of conversation, I can't help you with that because I'm an expert at first dates and second dates. The easiest technique I can give you is always be asking questions and ask a question based on the last thing she said. So ask her a question, she'll give you an answer, then ask a question based on what she just answered. Listen to the answer, then ask a question based on that. Then ask a question based on that. Start with that. That's the easiest technique I can give you. Yes, I've dated many hot college age girls who wanted relationships, so I need to change the routine. Okay. Yeah, it's something within you or your region or something. Cheapest course, look at your Alpha Male 2.0 content. The Younger Man Lifestyle Toolkit, I believe, is my cheapest course. I believe that's right. If you want to go into Fresh and Fit, I would hit up Rolo or Modern Life Dating. They could get you in contact with Myron. All right, good idea. All right, good idea. His teaching contradicts with Myron. Would be interesting to see some debates right on the spot. Yeah, they're very red pill, those two guys. So yeah, we have some differences. But again, on the macro, just like with Andrew Tate, on the macro, we agree. On the macro, I agree with most red pill stuff. When you get into the details, I'm like, what? No, that is not scientifically accurate. Sorry. I know you want monogamy to work, but it doesn't. Sorry. Long-term monogamy. Your opinion of polygamy. Guys have several women having a harem. I've talked about this many times. Polygamy is a high drama lifestyle, and it is also not long-term sustainable in most cases in the Western world. So if you live in the Western world and there are Western women, be prepared for nonstop drama and be prepared to work very hard in your relationships. I don't like to work hard in my women life, and I don't like drama. So I would never have multiple wives ever. I would never have multiple girlfriends ever. I like having a girlfriend or a wife and then FBs on the side. Or multiple MLTRs, but MLTRs aren't girlfriends. So for over a decade, I had multiple MLTRs with multiple FBs, loved it to death. Today, I have an OLTR wife and multiple FBs, love it to death. That I like. Much more sustainable, much less drama. Now, if you're an Alpha Male 1.0, like Andrew Tate, you don't care about drama, you don't care, then great, have multiple wives and have fun arguing the rest of your life. Some guys don't give a shit. Do you know that Cardi B music videos gets the most spins on YouTube was filmed in Dubai? Yes, I do know that. What was your thoughts on Cardi B and how music celebrities can affect women in dating relationships game? It does affect, not strongly, but it does have an effect. Beyonce's videos and songs have had a big effect on women in dating. Cardi B certainly has. Usually it reduces ASD and makes them more slutty, which is good for us. Woo! So I'm a big fan. Brilliant info on focusing on only a type 2's older niche. Good. Haven't you met Andrew Tate? I have never met, no, I've never met Andrew. I've never met Andrew Tate. I've never met him. No, I have not. I don't think I've even spoken or communicated with Andrew, have I? No, because I've talked to a lot of guys. I've met a lot of guys. No, I have not. Unless I'm forgetting. I don't think so. No, I haven't even communicated with him or met him. I don't think. No, I'm not. Now, you got to remember, too, I do other things for money besides this. I'm a very busy guy. I have a lot of other companies and things going on. So it's not like I don't spend a lot of time looking at other guys' materials. I don't have time. I have a lot of things going on that have nothing to do with Alpha Male 2.0. If this was my only source of income, Alpha Male 2.0 was all I did, then I'd be all over this stuff. But I'm not. I got other shit going on. There's a limit to how much money I can make with this. I can make a lot more money doing other things. But I make plenty of money doing this, too, so I'm not complaining. Considering how much you work, good segue. Could you talk about your schedule and make time for women? Do you have time management strategy for women? Yes. Once a week, sit down and block out your week. It's one of the core time management techniques. You do this Sunday night, Saturday morning, Monday morning, however you want to do it. Okay. I do it Monday morning or Mondays. You sit down and you block out your week. When am I going to see my chicks? When am I going to see them? And you put in woman time. You block out woman time. And that's your woman time. And that's it. The rest of the time is work. That's it. Start with that. What's your opinion of speed seduction? I assume you're talking about Ross Jeffries. If you're talking about Ross Jeffries, if you're not, let me know. Ross Jeffries stuff does help. It's not bullshit. It actually does help. Will it actually absolutely get you laid like magic? No, but it does help. If you're on a first date with a woman who already agreed to go on a first date with you and you use some of that speed seduction stuff, it does help. I used to do some of it. Way back. I haven't done it in years. But way back in the day, I did the cube. That did help. It helped. So yes. Some other stuff, yeah. Actually known as more provider hunter now, even under 30 females like this. Yes, you're going to see more provider hunter women drop below 33 as the Western world continues to collapse. Yes, you will. I've been rejected by women many times, currently in a lethargic state, after gone out with over 200 plus females. Should I stop completely or how's a different mindset that's more uplifting? When you constantly do things that are not working, go back and figure out what you're doing that isn't working. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again that doesn't working. That's stupid. Sit down and say, all right, I need to change my approach. What should I change? This is what I did back in the day when I was getting good with women. I would track what I was doing, look at my results. If they weren't good, and sometimes they weren't, I'd say, okay, I'm not going to keep doing that. What can I change? I'll change this, I'll change this, and I'll change this. And now let's try that for a while. Let's see if that works. If that doesn't work, okay, I'll change this, this, this. Try that for a while. Oh, shit, that works. Let's do it again. Oh, it's still working. Okay, that's part of my model now. Now let's change this. And you just keep testing. Don't keep doing the same thing. I have a feeling these 200 women or 200 dates, whatever, you've done the same thing 200 times. That's stupid. Don't do that. Change your approach. There's something you're doing that isn't working, so stop doing that. Identify what that is, or just change things. Start testing. That's what you got to do. Do you also think the reason much younger guys have low testosterone is their own fault, i.e. lifestyle factors? Yes, correct. Little kids don't go outside anymore. Guys don't exercise anymore. They don't. I know on a YouTube, Instagram world, you look at all these ripped guys thinking everyone exercises. They don't. Guys don't exercise anymore. They sit on their fat asses or their skinny fat asses, and they play video games all day and smoke weed and watch Netflix and are on YouTube and TikTok. And yeah, correct. Now, that's not the only reason. Plastics and stuff in the environment, that's also true. So it's not 100% their fault, but they do have some blame, yes. What are the best cities for online dating in the United States? Or least bad, since there are no good cities. There are no good cities in the United States. Least bad. They're all up least bad. There are some that are just really bad. So I'll give you the bad cities. San Francisco is the hardest city in the United States to date. So don't do that. LA can be difficult if your SMV is lower. Don't do that. What else is difficult in the United States? Dallas is okay. Another city that's escaping me that's pretty tough. I don't remember. So mainly it's San Francisco, Southern California. But there are no good cities in the United States. If you want easy places to get laid with online dating, get out of the Western world. Go to Colombia, go to the Philippines, go to Thailand. You will get laid like a rock star. Go to Japan. Holy shit. But if you want to stay in the United States, sorry, you got to work harder. Get out of the Western world. Also, how do you go about finding real answers for this? I've been searching online, but most advice is terrible. I just told you there's no good cities in the United States. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's no good cities in the United States. Would you let an OLTR go to the club with her pals on holidays, regardless of RP guy logic? Yes. I cannot tell my OLTR what to do. That is how Alpha Male 2.0 is exactly the opposite of Red Pill. When you are dating a woman, you cannot tell her what to do, and she can't tell you what to do. Neither one of you can tell what to do. So if she wants to go out on a holiday with her friends and you don't want to go, then you let her go. Now, if she's constantly doing that all the time and you hate it, then you were a fucking idiot by getting into a serious relationship with her. You were a moron. You didn't vet correctly. Okay? So that's on you. So you can dump her if you want, but you can't say, don't do that. I don't want you to go, because she's going to say, who the fuck are you, mother? If she's Western, who the fuck are you? You can't tell me what to do, and now you have drama. This is why Red Pill guys have lots of drama. They're constantly telling women what to do. Stop telling women, and they can't tell you what to do. How would you argue on Fresh and Fit show against their philosophy of a serious relationship that men should be able to exercise their options while women can't? Because it is not sustainable in the Western world unless money is involved. That's it. I have never seen a relationship like that where the guy can fuck other women, but the women can't fuck other guys, last longer than 9 months. I have never seen it last. Eventually the woman says, if it's a Western woman, okay, if it's a Western woman, outside the Western world, do whatever you want. But if it's a Western woman, she's like, fuck this. And she will either dump the guy or cheat on the guy. Unless money is involved. Because Andrew Tate, if he were sitting here and said, well, I've done it for 10 years. Yeah, because they're making 6 figures by living in your house and following your orders. And if they fuck another guy, you're going to fire them and they lose their income. money is involved. If money is not involved, that is not a sustainable model in the Western world. That is a man fantasy. That's a fantasy men have. That doesn't work in the Western world. If you really want to do that, move to Saudi Arabia, convert to Islam, and then you can do that. You can have 4 wives. And it works in Saudi Arabia. Okay, you better grow a beard and praise be to Allah. Have fun. Okay, but if you want to be in the Western world, that is not a sustainable model. If you don't care about sustainable, if you want to have relationships that last 6 to 12 months, and you have a new girlfriend every 6 to 12 months for the rest of your fucking life, into your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, okay, go ahead. That sounds like a lot of work to me. I wouldn't do it. So that's why. Hey, Caleb, what marketable skills, like copywriting, etc., would you say is easiest to learn for freelancing for someone looking to create a side income to then use that money to buy a course? Copywriting is great. Use that. There's a lot of skills you could use. Copywriting is fine. Go for it. RP teaches men to never touch women who have bipolar or self-harm, while you're teaching categorizes women as FB if they show sign of dick. Correct. Correct. If a woman is low quality, she's an FB. You don't not fuck her. Put on a good condom and enjoy her as an FB. Yeah, that is where my model completely different to RP. Again, RP has this assumption that any woman you touch needs to be girlfriend quality, which is stupid. There are gorgeous women in the world who are not girlfriend quality, who make amazing FBs, who you will love to death, and they're hot as hell and the sex is great. And they cut themselves, or they have tattoos, or they have horrible lives at home. And okay, great. Don't make them your girlfriend. So stupid. Caleb, thank you very much for the Q&A. Can you also do a Q&A live stream on the Sovereign CEO issues? You can discuss Sovereign CEO issues in this live stream. Alpha Male 2.0 is everything. Sovereign CEO is just this. So you can discuss Sovereign CEO, go right ahead. You can discuss anything you want in this live stream because Sovereign CEO is a subset of Alpha Male 2.0. So go for it. And yes, I will do live streams on both channels. What about the swinging lifestyle as an option for OLTR? No. Swinging is not a good idea long-term for an OLTR because I promise you at some point, so if you didn't know what swinging means for you guys, that means you as a couple fuck other couples as a couple. So you and your wife go fuck another couple, okay? But that's it. You're not allowed to go out and bang FBs on the side if you're a swinger. You're not allowed. That's cheating, okay? You cannot agree to that because, and this always happens, at some point, you can set your watch to this, your wife or your girlfriend OLTR will not want to do it anymore. So I don't want to do it anymore. And now you're monogamous. Congratulations. So you can never agree to that. Some Alpha Male 1.0s love drama a lot like Andrew Tate. Some of them even say you're not a real man if you hate drama. That is correct. That is classic Alpha Male 1.0. Right. How would you argue against Fret and Fit philosophy on their Miami show about how women should be willing to give up their Instagrams to be in a serious relationship with dudes, etc.? Here's what I would argue. Who are you going to monitor? So let's say 2 things. Give up your Instagram. She says, fuck you. Now you have drama. Is it worth it? You want to have drama with your girlfriend all the time? Now you're in a big fucking argument, okay? Let's say after the argument, she goes, fine, and she deletes her Instagram. What if she re-ups it later? What if she makes a new Instagram? How are you going to monitor this? Do you have enough free time in your day-to-day life to monitor what your girlfriend is doing at all times on social media? Is that how you want to spend your life? So I want to spend my life. I'm going to spend my life building companies, making shitloads of money and travel the world and banging other women. That's how I want to spend my life. I do not want to spend my life monitoring this girl to make sure she doesn't go in this. Are you a kid? Are you a child? That's how I would argue. As a 5'9" ectomorph, I have self-esteem, body issues, don't gain muscle mass. I feel I can't command alpha dominance I want. Is it a real physical issue for women or simply a mindset I need to get over? It is a mindset you need to get over. There's no such thing as a hard gainer. It's a bullshit thing in fitness. You need to start fucking hitting the weights hard, lifting heavy, and just downing that fucking protein and eating shitloads of calories. Not too many. That's what you do. And don't ask me about that because I'm not a fitness expert. But you can do it. Have you heard about Sterling Cooper? And if yes, what do you think of his advice? I think I've heard the name, but I don't know who it is. Instagram is a tough ask female out. I can count on my fingers. Yeah, don't use Instagram to use as game unless you are already very experienced and you have an amazing Instagram. Don't use it unless you're already a player. If you ever get a girl pregnant, should you take her to another country to deliver the baby so the kid will have dual citizenship? Sure. But here's the problem. You got to convince the mom. What if she says, I'm not doing that? Fuck you. I'm not going to Paraguay to have my baby. Fuck you. Good luck convincing her on that one. Do you think of upgrading one's Insta is key for data and the 2020s? And what sort of photos should I have on how many? Yes, you should have a good Instagram page if you're dating new women. Hang on, I got to ban a bot. Hang on a moment. Here we go. I can't give you details right now off the top of my head of how many photos should you have and what should they be. Photos of you doing fun things, doing cool shit. How many? As many as you can. Yes, Instagram's important. Yeah, you should have it. Yep. Unless you're doing nothing but sugar daddy game or you have some other outlet like you're a public figure like me. So yeah, I don't have a personal Instagram. I have a business Instagram. But I found that women, when they meet me, they look me up on YouTube and shit. So that's my version of Instagram. What do you think about Belarus as a flag location? No. I would not use Belarus. That is a dictatorship. It's a dark country. I would not. No. I slapped my mom in the ass. I don't give a fuck. Okay. About not giving a fuck about your mom, that's great. I don't know if I'd slap my mom in the ass. But all right. If you stay with parent, you will not have the balls set boundaries. Trust this uncle. Yes, trust me. I know a lot of Asian guys who still with parents. Yeah, okay. You're right. Okay, that's not good, Super Snot Gun. Don't get in fist fights with your dad. Then you give a shit. You shouldn't give a shit. What do you think about Miss? I already answered that question. If you're a mesomorph body type, well, fuck, aren't you lucky? Shit, I wish it was a mesomorph. Fuck. That is good attraction cue for women. Yes. I always get complimented by anyone, including friends. Well, of course. Yeah, if you're a mesomorph, congratulations. That's awesome. Hey, Caleb, I like brunette white girls. All right. Which country would you suggest I go to? Anywhere in the world. Brown is the standard color for white women. So anywhere in the world. Italy, Greece, anywhere in Europe. Southern Europe, anywhere in Europe, bro. Other than maybe Scandinavia, but even Scandinavia, there's plenty of brown girls there. It's anywhere in the world. That's such a funny question. I like white girls who have brown hair. Anywhere in the world, including Paraguay. They're white here. Also, should a guy wait to fully automate their Instagram if they move out of the West to mark a new phase in life? I wouldn't wait. Well, if you want to get laid now, no. Caleb, I believe in your techniques and agree with your opinions, but your answers are to cut and run like a pussy. What, if any, can you do to course correct? Like you, like I, will have grandkids one day. Cut and run like a pussy. You mean leave the country? I don't understand what you mean. Cut and run like a pussy. So no, when I cut and run, my income went up because I paid less taxes. My sex life improved. My happiness improved. How is that running like a pussy? You see how that doesn't make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. I didn't run because I was scared. I wasn't scared of the United States. I was making less money and having all kinds of issues I didn't like in the United States. Plus, I didn't like the United States. So it's not cutting and running like a pussy. It doesn't make what you just said. That makes no sense. Grandkids. You need to give me more detail what you mean by that. You have grandkids, therefore I have grandkids, therefore I have to suffer the rest of my life? No thanks. Plus, guess what? Your children may move out of the country. I have 2 children. One lives in Mexico. So he is not in the United States. And he never wants to go to the United States ever again. Good on him. My daughter desperately wants to move out of the United States. She doesn't know how, and she needs a little more money, but she absolutely wants to. So in a few years, both of my kids will not be in the United States either because my kids are smart. And I never told them to leave, but they know how I feel about it. So there you go. So problem solved, bro. I'm looking to get out of California and move to a low-income state like Texas. Move out of the country. Moving is a pain in the ass. If you're moving to Texas, you might as well move to Puerto Rico or Colombia or Thailand or Dubai or Malaysia or, anyway. However, many states have abortion laws that saddle you with child support for an accidental pregnancy. Advice: don't live in the United States. That's I'm sorry to be simple about this. That's my advice. In terms of accidental pregnancy, I have never gotten a woman pregnant by accident my entire life because I use these things called condoms. You may have heard of them. I'm careful. I'm not stupid. I don't have sex when I'm drunk because I don't get drunk. I'm not stupid. So if you're careful, you won't have that issue. You just won't. Okay. I don't get STDs. I don't get women pregnant by accident. I have a lot of sex, a lot of people, a lot of chicks. or move out of the United States. They don't have to bother about it. What are your thoughts about the swinging lifestyles? I already answered that. What are your thoughts on a lot of dudes on YouTube, even fresh and fit, shows saying they prefer dealing with women in other countries like Mexico, South America, etc.? I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that statement. That's where the red pill people are right. Yes, it is easier to date women in South America and some parts of Eastern Europe and some parts of Asia than it is to date Western women. That's accurate. Now, does that mean you just can't get laid in the United States? I can't get laid. You have these losers. I can't get laid. I live in the United States. I got laid mountains in the United States with hot chicks. I did just fine in the United States. So you can still do it. But I understand what they're saying. It is a whole different experience. South America, where I am right now, I'm in Paraguay. It's a whole different world in South America dating. If you don't believe me, come down here for 3 or 4 weeks and date some chicks. And you'll be like, oh my God, this is great. So they're right. Back in the day game, did you have recollections of accidentally hitting on jailbait? As far as I know, that never happened to me. I could have, I guess. This happens to me all the time, and I feel like a creep. All the hot ones look older than they really are. Ask for ID before you touch. Hang on. Ask for ID before you touch. You can talk to a 15-year-old girl. You can talk to a girl. Fine. If you're in the United States or Canada, you ask for ID before you touch. And I mean even like touch like that. I'm not kidding. So as long as you check ID, you're fine. I had to do this when I was in the United States. Okay? I still do this. I don't, because I don't want to get creeped out either. I understand what you mean. But so if you talk to a 15-year-old or talk to a 16-year-old, who cares? You can talk to one. Doesn't make no big difference. Are there any downsides to sperm banking and getting a vasectomy? No. Anything I should know beforehand? What I would do? No, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Men have fathered children with frozen sperm that's been frozen up to 25 years. It's actually happened. So it works very well. What I would do if you're really sure you want kids, is make sure it's use 2 sperm banks, not 1. What happens if it gets, if the power goes out or, it gets closed down or earthquake or, something like that. So use 2 sperm banks in 2 different parts of the world at 2 different ends of the country. Okay. And you're good to go. It's fine. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Kanye's quote saying Instagram got your bish? I don't know what he means by that quote. So you have to explain it to me because I'm not cool. How do dominant independent women usually react to your non-monogamous lifestyles compared to submissive dependent types? There's no difference. They either they hate it or they grudgingly acknowledge it. And there's no difference between dominant, submissive, and dependent. There's no difference. Hey, Caleb, would you recommend using hookers if you like having sex with women but don't enjoy talking to them or care to talk to them? The problem with game POA is you have to talk to women. Here's the standard rule about paying for sex. Here we go. Said this many times. A lot of you aren't going to like this, including probably you. Paying for sex is okay, provided 2 things. And you have both these 2 things. Number 1, you can easily afford it. You make tons of money. If you make $27,000 a year and you're paying for hookers or sugar babies, you're an idiot. You need to make more money. Okay, that's going to hurt you financially. I can afford it because I make a lot of money. Okay? All right, number 1. Number 2, you can get laid with hot girls without paying for it because you've already done it. And the reason you're paying for it is you're busy with other stuff. You don't want to take, or in your case, you want to take the time and effort. You just want to dick with it. Fine. So if you're able to bang hot girls without paying for it, and you can easily afford it, go ahead and pay for sex. Doesn't matter if it's hookers or sugar babies. Doesn't matter. And I followed this model. I didn't do sugar daddy game until just about 4 or 5 years ago. So prior 10 years that I never paid a woman for anything. Okay? So I follow my own models. That's the rule. Come on. Focus. Focus. Okay, I'm going to be out of focus for a while. Let's see. Caleb, what are your thoughts on getting to sex on the 3rd date, high or low, based on your experience? What are the odds of getting to sex? It depends on the woman, depends on the many scenarios. Provided she doesn't want to meet or come back to my place on the 2nd date. Oh, low. Low for that one. Also, do dominant women tend to be single parents? There's no correlation whatsoever. I've seen dominant single moms, independent single moms, and submissive single moms. Less likely if they're an independent. A little less likely they're independent, okay? Outside that, no difference. Even though I always use a condom and try not to come while I'm fucking, I have this big paranoia that I'll impregnate a girl someday. 2% rule. Any tips? Yeah, read the articles and or watch my videos of the 2% rule and start learning how to be rational. The odds of you impregnating a girl, if you correctly use condoms, are microscopic because it's actually hard to impregnate a woman. It's really difficult. With women who are trying to get pregnant with their boyfriends or husbands, it's hard. Even when they ovulate and say, okay, today's the day, let's fuck, they still can't. You can only get pregnant within a few hours of one day, minus the fact that sperm can last up to 3 or 4 days in the woman's body. But even then, it's hard. So it's hard to get a woman pregnant. You add a condom on top of that and other birth control on top of that, you're fine. Look at the facts. Where's a good place to live in the U.S. if all the hot girls are no longer going to live in the cheaper, low cost of living tax states, since those will most likely have bans on abortion? That's not correct. Very few states will actually ban abortion. I've said this many times. Stop watching political bullshit. Get your head out of politics. It's warping your brain. The United States is a left-wing country. There's only a few weird states, low population states, like Tennessee. There's maybe 2 or 3, very few states that are actually going to do this. This is not an issue for you. Stop reading politics. Stop paying attention to politics. Focus on yourself. Could Africa be good for dating? Watch the AIDS, but yeah, you say it's good for young men, but since young guys want to rack up notch count, where would it be good? I couldn't give you specific places in Africa. You should watch my Africa video in terms of economic places I would choose in Africa, the countries that are best for that. In terms of dating, I have very little information on that. Yes, I'm sure you could probably get laid a lot, but AIDS is a problem in Africa. It's a real problem. Unlike the United States, where it's bullshit when people worry about AIDS, you're not going to get AIDS. Africa, you might, so be careful. Caleb, if you want to get on Fresh and Fit, you guys are really into Fresh and Fit. Just get in touch with friends Charlie and DCC you already worked with. They are super tight with Fresh and Fit and on the show frequently. Okay, cool. All right, good point. Thank you. Can you expand on where your opinions with Rollo differ? I listen to both your contents. He's extremely analytical, and I always wonder when he says something, what would Caleb say about that? Give me something specific I can respond to, because Rollo gives a diagnosis for societal problems. He is not very strong at giving specific dating advice or specific relationship advice. And when he does, it's a little off. I like Rollo. I have no problem with Rollo, but he's more of, here's the problems with society. Here are the macro issues with men and women. That's where he focuses on. I'm the opposite. I mention the problems, but then I go right into what you need to do based on field-tested techniques that we know actually work in the real world. So give me something specific and I can respond to that. How do you feel about ongoing drought in South America, especially Paraguay? Are you worried about future instability there? I am not worried about the drought at all. I don't give a shit about that. I am a little concerned about places like in Paraguay. I'm in Paraguay now, if you didn't know. Because of the cerveza sickness, they stopped everyone from working. But unlike the Western countries that gave people free money, thanks, socialist Donald Trump, they didn't do that in Paraguay because they don't have a welfare state in Paraguay. So now there's a whole bunch of people in Paraguay who can't get jobs because they lost their jobs because of cerveza sickness, because the government forced them to not work. And getting a job in Paraguay is hard. It's hard to get a job here. And so the crime has gone up a little bit. Civil unrest has gone up a little, not too bad. So I'm a little concerned about that. That will weed itself out as Paraguay continues to rise. I'm going to do a YouTube video the next day or two where I will show all the construction going on here and all the economic growth that's going on here, despite cerveza sickness. Paraguay's on the rise, not a sharp rise like Asia, but it's rising. Unlike America, that gets worse every year. So. Cool, man. I was just in Yerevan a few weeks ago. Going back soon. In which countries do you get the least amount of drama from women? I don't think there is one. Drama is part of the female psyche. So South America, you're going to get drama. America, you're going to get drama. Canada, you're going to get drama. Europe, you're going to get drama. Dubai, you're going to get drama. Asia, you're going to get drama. It's every type of drama from Asia. So no, I don't think there are no low drama countries that I can think of. Women like drama. It's part of being a girl, unfortunately. It's your job to manage this as the Alpha Male 2.0. I have 30K in savings. Don't have an L2 biz set up yet. Would you suggest moving to Colombia now? I'm in Canada. I have until mid-September before they put restrictions back for flights. I have a whole YouTube video on that at Sovereign CEO. Watch that video. And it's a decision based on several factors. I have a whole video on that question. It's incredible to observe you generate more energy while talking. Do you talk the same way while interacting with women? Yes, I do. Maybe not quite this high energy because I'm doing a live stream and I'm on the internets. But yeah, I'm a high energy guy. I'm a high energy confident guy. Yep. I remember you mentioning that you have a harder time with black women. Any ideas or theories why? Yeah, I have a theory. I don't know if I'm right. I'm very white. I'm very white. And so the only black women who would like me are black women, that small percentage of black women who really want a white boyfriend. That's a small percentage of black women. Most black women want a strong black man, a good black man, right? Right? So that's my theory. I could be wrong. So that's my theory. I'm a whitey white motherfucker. I'm white. Let's see if I can remember this. I am as white as milk on rice in a paper plate in a snowstorm. You should we hang on, I need a drink. I need a drink. It's water, not vodka. Funny how women all over the world, including Paraguay, like vodka. Doesn't matter where they're from. Like vodka. Oh, okay. You said we should be at least 8/10 sure of having kids. Yes. What he's saying is, do not have children unless on a scale from 1 to 10, your desire to have kids is at least an 8 or higher, which means it's very strong. I am over 35 and only a 5'10". Okay, that means you should not have kids. Is it cool to go ahead and get a vasectomy so I don't have to worry about pregnancy? Yes, go ahead and get a vasectomy. Go for it. Absolutely. You can freeze your sperm if you'd like. Thoughts. Lots of rich green girls get drugged and roofied and robbed in Colombia. It's called, are you the same guy? Okay, please look up the 2% rule. Please watch the videos on the 2% rule. Okay, please do that. The odds of that happening to you, unless you're stupid, is less than 2%, therefore don't worry about it. I'm not going to address it because that's just so silly. Alex of Playing for Fire is doing a one-way open relationship. Let's see. Is he? No, he's not. Are you positive about that? Hang on, I got to ban another bot. Block user. There we go. I think you're wrong about Alex, but I could be wrong. But you need to prove that. Have you seen Alpha Male 1.0 non-monogamy work outside the Western world, the Middle East? Yes, with lots of drama. I live in Dubai. It is a Muslim country. Okay. Now, only 9% of people in Dubai are Emiratis, are from Dubai. But oh yeah, I've seen it work. Lots of drama. Okay. Lots of fighting and screaming and yelling. So if you call that working, yes, I've seen it work outside the Western world. You bet. Absolutely. I have a higher than average tendency to come down with one-itis. That's not good. Any tips for avoiding that or to try to have sex with a lot more girls? Google Caleb or Black Dragon, all one word, Black Dragon, 9 steps to avoid one-itis. And an entire article, read that article. Caleb, what's the difference between living with a girl as a non-monogamous mindset versus not? Massive difference. That's why I have 2 separate books. I have one book for non-monogamous relationships that you don't live with. Okay, the Ultimate Open Relationships Manual. And I have a complete separate book called the Ultimate Open Marriage Manual and a course. When you live with her, there are massive differences because the power dynamic shifts when you move in with a woman. So there's massive, massive differences. Also, you can't soft next anymore. You can't soft next to a woman you live with. So you have to have something else I call the drama corrective procedure. It's another thing you can use. It's not as effective. So you give up a lot of power and move in with a woman. That's why you got to be very careful if and when you do this. It took years for me to accept Pink Firefly into my home. Years of vetting and conversations. So there's a huge difference. If you don't manage to do sex talk on the first date, will you significantly lower your odds of getting sex the second date? No. If you do everything else, no, you will not significantly lower. Many times I don't, and I do just fine. But I do everything else right. So if you do everything else right, no. Tell your daughter to date me. We'll travel. She has a boyfriend. Alyssa has a boyfriend. I've got a few emails like your daughter's hot. I've got a few emails. No, excuse me. My daughter has a boyfriend, and she's pretty committed. and he's older. He's 10 years older than her. She fantasizes about much older, but anyway. Can you name some movies you admire that feature the type of alpha male archetypes men should strive to emulate, behavior, style? Yes. Yeah, I have a weak list in my head of alpha male 2.0 or alpha male 2.0-ish characters and movies. Here are some off the top of my head, no particular order. The TV show Rome from a few years ago, fantastic alpha male TV show. The character of Mark Anthony, pure alpha 2.0 guy, fantastic. The movie Prometheus, the Idris Elba character in that movie, alpha male 2.0. There was a movie called Lockdown. Was it called Lockdown? Lockdown? Starring Guy Pearce. I might be getting that exactly right. Lockdown, Guy Pearce. It's an action movie where he goes to a space station to rescue the president's daughter. It's an action movie starring Guy Pearce. He like buffed up for the part. Pure alpha male 2.0. Fantastic example of an alpha male 2.0. So there's a few. Caleb, how to control your impulse to constantly check the dating apps. I get too desperate on making shit happen, and I notice it distracts me working on business. Designate once per day or twice per day, worst case, specific times you allow yourself to check the dating apps. And don't check other than that. Put the phone away. Also, get angry when things don't happen my way dating-wise because I want to build my roster fast. Through rotation is my goal. Outcome independence, it will come. Outcome independence, it will come. You can't be in a rush. Okay, you can't be in a rush for this. Outcome independence, outcome independence. Do you really flush condoms at all times, even at your own house? Yes. Oh, at my own house? No. No, I don't have my own house. What do I do at my own house? I usually use condoms with my wife, but there are times where other women are over there for like, no, I don't at my own house. Are you concerned about messing up plumbing or clogged toilets? I am concerned about that, so you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that. That's true. If you're not going to flush it, then you should do stuff like put the used condom back in the wrapper, crush it up, and just like put it in your pocket or something. If you're at her place, something like that, and take it out of there. I've done stuff like that. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're right. Usually I just flush it. You've given some practical reasons for leaving the U.S., but it seems like you have a basic emotional disliking for the U.S. Could you explain that? Explain why I have a dislike for the U.S.? Yes. I don't like countries that want to tax most of my income. I think that's authoritarian and insane. So if you want to tax me at 40%, 50%, 60%, 30%, that's insane. I work for my money. So fuck you. No, especially if you're going to use that money to go bomb countries that have never attacked my country. Now really fuck you. Especially if you use that money to bail out multimillionaire bankers. Now really fuck you. Especially if you use that money to give to just people on welfare who haven't even looked for a job in over 3 years. They're sitting at home watching TV all day. Now really fuck you. So that's why I don't like it. That's insulting. I don't like it. I don't mind paying some taxes. I use roads. Okay, I do use roads. I do benefit from police protection. I'm not an anarchist. So sure, I don't mind paying 5%. That's plenty to pay for roads and cops and an army and courts. Things that I would actually use. Sure. But beyond that, go fuck yourself. So that's why I'm a libertarian. I'm a minarchist libertarian. I'm the only one left in the world because all the libertarians 4 or 5 years ago turned into big government nationalist Trump supporters. It's very sad. Welcome to Western collapse. And it's going to get worse. Let's see. Do you think it's better to have experience with Western world women first before dealing with women easier outside the West? I don't know if it's better. It certainly helps. So if you're really good, that's how I did it. I got really good at dating Western women, at attracting Western women. And so when you do that and then you go abroad, you're like Superman because it's easier. You're like, holy shit. See, a lot of guys are beta males and they don't like Western women. So they go abroad to get laid more easily because it's easier. I did the opposite. I got really good at dating, banging, what have you, Western women. And then I went abroad and I'm like, this is really easy. So you could, sure. Caleb, curious, are you going to have another 12-week business coaching made available? Yes, I am in October. And how's the current one doing? Current one's doing fucking phenomenal. We are having a great time. Tomorrow we do our next session. We're 4 sessions in. My staff and I are blown away by how well the guys are doing. And we're only like a month into this thing. Crazy. I will have some real, at the end of the 12 weeks of this one, we're going to have some real testimonials, guys on video going through. I started with Caleb with this, and now I'm making this. We already have a guy, I don't want to say it. We already have a guy, I don't want to say it, who's already making money, and he hasn't even done anything yet. We have at least two, and we haven't even, like, we're still in the niching phase. It's awesome. But yes, we're going to do it again in October, but it'll be more expensive. Every time I do it, the price goes up. Caleb, I'm eligible for Italian citizenship by ancestry. Is it worth it to get it, even though the country is politically and economically a mess? You make your own decision. I am also eligible for that, and I was pursuing it, and then I canceled it. Several reasons. One, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of going back and forth to Italy. It's a lot of fuck around with their bureaucracy and their courts. In many cases, you have to sue the government and it's a mess. It takes years and years and years. And then you get an Italian passport. And Italy is talking about doing, like, worldwide taxation, even if you don't live there, like the United States. I just said it's too much work, and it's not worth it. So I'm not doing it. Are there other guys who've done it? Yes. And are happy? Yes. I'm not going to do it. So make your own decision. Caleb, say I've renounced, have two CBIs, and Fed coin comes out in all first world countries. Will I still be able to be free when most or all of the most powerful nations are more financially totalitarian? Yes. It's a degree. Will you be more or less free under that scenario than an American with an American passport? You'll be far better off than an American with an American passport living in America. Not even close. The answer is yes. Caleb, when you renounce citizenship, you will lose TSA pre-check, correct? Correct, I will. Don't care. Because that's only when traveling inside the United States. I don't want to go to the United States ever again. I'm going to. But when I go to the United States going forward in my life, certainly as of now, it's going to be for a few days at a time to do a seminar or coaching or consulting or visiting my family or saying hi to some old FBs there. And then I'm going to a wedding. So Pink Firefly and I are going to a wedding next year in the summer in Montana. It'll be that, and I'm out. I'm not going to be spending like weeks and weeks and weeks in the United States moving around. No, I don't want to. So I don't give a shit. What's your thoughts on Fresh and Fit? Jesus Christ, more questions about Fresh and Fit and Tate. Running a home-based YouTube show based off interviewing women in Miami, and would you consider their business model to be mainly Miami location dependent? Their business model is location dependent. They're location dependent on Miami. Yes, they are. Even the right-wingers are left-wingers. Correct. They just take their money by writing incendiary copy for high ROI. Correct. Weren't you interviewed by Rich Cooper? Yes, he's a friend of mine. You bet. Rich is a great guy. It's on his YouTube channel. I think it's on my channel too. Is it on my channel? No, it's on his channel. I should probably put it on my channel, shouldn't I? You think John McAfee actually committed suicide? That was my initial knee-jerk reaction. I got a little emotional because I like him. Probably not. He probably did it. He's a madman in a good way, but probably not. He probably did it himself. I would need more evidence and data to say that. Now, Jeffrey Epstein, different story. That guy was killed. John McAfee probably killed himself, yeah. Caleb, say U.S. bans requiring second passports before I have one. Okay, here's the deal when they ban a second passport. How are they enforcing it? How are they going to enforce that? A lot of countries don't allow second passports, but guys get them anyway. So don't worry about it. Couldn't I, e.g., live in Dominica for 6 months, get my CBI purchase ready, and renounce the embassy fund? Yeah, the answer is yes, but I wouldn't worry about it. Hi, Caleb. Is it possible to ask you for recommendations on lawyers, banks for your flag in Armenia? Planning to establish a flag there. Thank you. I do not give out that information for free. You're going to have to buy my course, Get Residency, at getresidency.io. It's very inexpensive, and it will help you, give you a lot more data than just attorneys. Getresidency.io. It's all yours. Caleb, say I live abroad, Latin countries. My biz makes $100K a year. Should I still move toward getting new passports and renouncing my U.S. citizenship, right? That's up to you. By moving abroad and not renouncing, you will get your taxes to zero because you make less than $130,000 a year. $130,000 that cut off. I make multiples of $130,000. So I pay taxes still. Not much, but I pay some. So you don't need to. Now your question is, do you want to, hang on. Are you going to make more money? So your long-term future, that's why I'm doing this now, because I know I'm going to make a lot more money in a few years than I am today. I know for a fact because every year I make more money. So are you making a lot more money? If so, then you should plan on renouncing. If you're like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna just ride this out at around 110,000, 120, 150,000, then fine. You don't need to renounce unless you want to. Please discuss strategic, operational, and tactical levels regarding women. Macro versus micro, diagnosis versus prescription. Way too general a question. I can't answer that. It's way too general a question. Need much more specific. After a few months, 1 year of relationship, women tend to want me to move in with them, which is something I don't want. How do you prevent that? So with some women, sorry, I'm blurry. It's the way it goes. It'll fix in a second. With some women, you can't prevent that. It's the way it goes. You can't prevent it. You just have to manage it and mitigate it. Okay, you just do your best to manage it. I'm not going to move in with you. I'm not ready for that yet. Okay. Eventually, if you find one who you like and she's a possible OLTR candidate, then fine. You can say, hey, I'm looking at that, but not now. Let's look at that in a year or two or whatever. But you can't prevent it, especially with MLTRs. Sometimes you can, but usually you can't. Cut and run here. Do you have any ideas on how the Western world can course correct? It cannot. It is mathematically impossible for the Western world to not collapse at this point. It is mathematically impossible. There is nothing you can do. There is no politician you can vote for. There is no group you can vote for. There is no protest you can do. There's nothing. Some of us can't or don't want to leave the U.S. Give me some hope. The least bad scenario, I talked about this in my videos. You can watch the videos on this at Sovereign CEO. The least bad scenario for the West is that countries secede. That is not the most likely scenario. Now, well, that will happen once things are horrible. So least bad scenario is they secede before things get really bad. So Texas, New Hampshire, Alaska break away from the United States and form their own countries. That would be awesome. Probably not going to happen. Scotland breaks away from the UK. Probably not going to happen. Catalonia breaks away from Spain. Probably not going to happen. Okay. Quebec breaks away from Canada. Probably not going to happen. So that's the least bad scenario. In that scenario, great. Then you move to a country, the little mini countries that support capitalism, free markets, and property rights. That's another if. If Scotland broke away from the UK, they just continue to be socialist and they just continue to go down, right? Whereas if New Hampshire broke away from the United States, they would be very libertarianish, and that might be good. Right? Texas would be a little more Republican. That would be How easy could you live overstaying your passport and becoming a refugee in another country? I would never recommend that at all, ever. I believe in following the law because you'll have to be constantly worried about getting caught, and that's not a lifetime of long-term consistent happiness. Andrew Tate says better to have 5 million in your 30s than 1 billion in your 70s because you're too old and tired to enjoy that money. Do you agree? I completely agree. What do you think about Forex as trading as location-dependent income? Very high risk, but it is technically acceptable. What do you think why do you think countries like Africa are creating so many kids and countries like US and Canada are not? Because it's too expensive to have kids. Westerners for the past 30, 40, 50 years have been voting for terrible people called the lesser of two evils. And by doing that, they have made it impossible for a normal middle-class person to have children and raise them correctly. That's why. In Africa, everything's cheap because everything's depressed, so it doesn't matter. So they just crank out babies, and they don't give a shit. There's also a lot of religious aspects to this. There's a lot of cultural aspects. There's a lot of aspects to this. But just think about the concept of you in the West having, 7 kids. You go, oh my God. But if you tell someone in Africa have 7 kids, they go, cool. See? I wouldn't have 7 kids. Regarding living abroad, any difficulties for you not knowing the local languages? I've never had a problem. I did at least 2 podcasts on this. I'm in Paraguay right now. Nobody speaks English. I don't speak Spanish. I have a great time here. Not virtually nobody. Virtually nobody. The rank and file people walking around, no one speaks English. Some people speak English. Colombia, they don't speak English either. Argentina, they speak English. Panama, they definitely speak English. But I don't have a problem. I'm fine. I'm cool with it. And again, if that drives you crazy, stay in countries where they speak English. Dubai speaks English. Hong Kong speaks English. Panama speaks English. Just go to those places. Caleb, I live in Belize, but I want to set up an LLC in Wyoming for my drop shipping business, payment processor, and banking. Do you absolutely have to do that? If you absolutely have to do that, then fine, I understand. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. This is acceptable, right? Yeah, it's acceptable. Not ideal, but it's acceptable. Caleb, I'd like nothing more than having 2 or 3 high-end MLTRs. You can only have one high-end MLTR, but I understand what you're saying. I'm absolutely capable of deeply loving 3 women. Oh, you really want that? Okay. Can you give me any concrete reasons why this won't work? Is this a good podcast topic? Maybe. Concrete reasons why it won't work. It might work. I just don't recommend it. Some guys are weird and can love multiple women. There was a guy back in Pickup Artist World years ago named JWS, and he was big on this, loving multiple women. And whenever I date MLTRs, I love them all equally. No, you don't. Yeah, and I think he really did, but that's rare. So you might be one of those rare guys who wants to love multiple women. As long as they're MLTRs and not OLTR, it can work. You have to do everything right, be on your toes. So it could work, sure. I don't recommend it, but it could work. Yeah. I have to go in about 5 minutes. Okay. So I probably will not get all your questions, but I will do my best. How long have we been on here? 2 hours and 50 minutes, motherfuckers. Shit. Let me check my phone again real quick. Hang on. Hang on. Jesus. A lot of activity on my phone today. Hang on. Fuck. All right. Caleb, if I live abroad and make 110K a year, are you the same? It's the same question. 100K a year and pay no taxes. Shouldn't I renounce my use of regardless because it's becoming more totalitarian and can change the rules and come after me in some way? I would. Yes, I would. I'm just saying you don't have to, but I would for that reason. Yes, but you may not be as concerned about this. That's your decision. Would you say Los Angeles has usually always had the hottest women in the U.S. overall as compared to other U.S. cities? Yes, I would say that. The women in L.A. are fucking hot as fuck. Yes, yes, yes. There's a new libertarian party in Paraguay. It's going to fail. How does an options trader, libertarian party always fails. People hate libertarians. How does an options trader implement a 5 flags model while trading in U.S. Western markets as compared to business owners? Oh, that's fine. You can be an option trader and be location dependent. You don't have to live in the United States to trade options in the United States. So you can do that. Long term, I wouldn't do that. Long term, I wouldn't rely on U.S. markets. Long term. But short term, medium term, you're fine. Mr. Lucario always recommend to be very direct with women and tell them from the jump you're sexually interested. Yeah, so can't see me, can you? Mode 1 did that too. So you just invite them over, verbalize you want to have sex, not just tell them over to chill. Still, not just invite them over to chill. You still recommend the indirect approach you teach in your book? Yes, I do. For Mr. L, direct works better because 0 time wasters. He can talk to many women faster. Yes. So I agree with the concept. I think the high volume, low result model is only for guys who are very confident players already. Okay. And I don't teach my materials to guys who are already super players like Lucario. Lucario's fucking amazing. He can fuck anybody. He's amazing. I mean, shit. Pink Firefly, we're looking, when he was at my seminar, as guest speaker in Orlando, we were showing some of his pictures for his online dating stuff. He was sitting right there. And Pink Firefly she's not into black guys at all, but she's like, damn. And she's never been like the black guys. So he's Superman. But that's my answer. I don't recommend that to the masses. Now, once you're at a certain high level of game, I could probably do that. Yeah, I could do that. Matter of fact, I know I could do that. I've done it. But I'm already at a certain level, like Lucario is. For everyone else, I wouldn't recommend it. Did you know Roosh? I don't know him personally. He's speaking at a conference in YV next month. He must be, is it a religious conference? I don't know. Caleb, do you believe in God? Because I don't. I just believe in the law of the universe. I believe in intelligent design. Yes, I believe in something that may be like not a Judeo-Christian God. I do not believe in that. I do believe in something that is beyond our 5 senses and beyond our current scientific capability to verify. Yes, I do. I'm not 100% on it, but I believe in it. Yes, I do. I do believe that. But it's not like a guy with a beard sitting on a chair saying, "You masturbated. Oh, you said my name in vain. Oh, you had sex out of wedlock. No, I don't believe in that. That's bullshit. Vulnerability and verbalization are my greatest flaws in long-term relationships. How do you refrain from expressing such emotions that potentially get you into trouble, i.e. betaization? Self-awareness. I don't know if it's the same guy earlier. Self-awareness. Be aware of what you say to women in your life. Be aware of the words coming out of your mouth. Be aware of what you say before you say it. You can be vulnerable with an OLTR or a high-end MLTR. You can be somewhat vulnerable, okay? But outside that, no. A TradCon conference. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Why do people hate us libertarians so much? Because freedom makes people very uncomfortable. The ability where your life is your own, you do whatever you want. If you fuck up, you fix your own mistakes. That is extremely terrifying to human beings. Left-wingers hate it. Right-wingers hate it. They just, left-wingers say, no, 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 the government has to help you. And right-wingers say, no, 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 you have to have standards. You have to tell people how to live their lives because there's a certain way to do it. And they have to. So that's why. It's anti-collectivist. And humans are collective creatures. They're tribalist, collective creatures, unfortunately. That's how we evolved. So that's it. All right, 2 more minutes. I got to go. You mentioned the threshold of $85,000, the minimum income goal. Do you consider it pre-tax? Yes, that is pre-tax. That is pre-tax net. I make around 105 pounds, 105K a year, but I'm getting around 50% tax. I didn't leave France yet, but hope to do so. Well, can you maintain that income location independent if you leave France? That's the question. If you can't, then this doesn't matter. It's $85,000 a year, location independent, pre-tax net. Because if you leave France, you're probably going to save some money on taxes. There's a lot of people from Germany in Dubai because they're paying these horrible tax rates. And same thing with France. Move to Dubai, won't pay any tax, bro. Caleb, no BS question for the future. How does one ultimately become enlightened in this life? Too general a question for me to answer in a quick format like this. Nor should I be the one you ask. I'm not old enough to answer spiritual questions. I'm only 50. You should ask that of someone older than me. What backpack do you use and stuff do you bring for someone who travels often? Tortuga, the Tortuga backpack, the 35-liter version. I fap too much. What should I do? I don't have an answer for that. I've never had that problem. That's more of a psychologist question. I don't have an easy answer for you other than start weaning yourself off. A little less every week, a little less every week. Other than that, I really can't help you. Caleb, what do you do when your MLTR starts demanding for money and you don't want to give it to her? Instant soft next and or downgrade to an FB. Do you think living alone is good for a single guy in his early 20s? I always think living alone is good. Always for any man. Fuck yes. What are your thoughts on staying the single mother rate? What are your thoughts on people staying the single mother rate in Colombia may be as high or higher in the US? I don't care and it's not relevant to me. All right, last question, guys. I got to go. What's wrong with learning to code to keep your skill set location dependent? I'm also learning copywriting and working on an econ business because there are thousands of skills you can learn to be location dependent where you don't have to go directly to competition against a billion guys in India who will work harder than you and charge less money than you in the marketplace. That's why. Cool. All right. Rashad Imran, remember me. Is that a question? I don't think so. I don't know. All right, guys. I have to go. We will do this again. We'll do this again on the Sovereign CEO channel. I will do this semi-regularly on both channels, Alpha Male 2.0 and Sovereign CEO. This will go up in the next 24 hours at the Alpha Male 2.0 channel, the correct channel, because it should not be at Sovereign CEO. That was my error, as I talked about earlier in this podcast, or earlier in this live stream. Have fun. Have fun. Have a good one. Bye.